All right, welcome, audience, viewers. We are going to start the Quest for the Frozen Flame campaign. I just met Craig here. Let's just introduce. I'm Ronald, the rules lawyer. I have many people, everyone probably knows me as someone with a YouTube channel that runs and advocates for Pathfinder 2E. These are my players in one of my private campaigns who have been generous enough to allow me to stream. I'm just going to go in the order that people on the screen who are home or can see you. So Craig is... Sorry, I have to adjust my Megan cam. There's my cat sleeping. Okay, Craig, everybody just say, your RPG experience. Oh, this is Quest for the Frozen Flame. This is where people are part of a tribe of people who are surviving in the realm of the Mammoth Lords, in the near the North Pole of Golarion, and the party is a set of people who come to find themselves to be heroes for their tribe as they deal with some very dire circumstances. So, Craig, why don't you tell us anything you like about your TTRPG experience and what you've done with Pathfinder 2E, and also what character you have today and what their class is.
All right. So my name, of course, is Craig, and I have been playing tabletop RPGs since 2013 and have been playing and GMing Pathfinder 2nd Edition since its release. I am very experienced, I feel, in it, and am very much looking forward to being able to play this campaign with everyone. And I am actually going to be playing an outsider to the entire tribe. I am playing Ernest Nansen. He is a Taldan professor from Opara, the capital of Taldor, and is seeking to open up his horizons outside of being just at a desk in a classroom. He is a professor of anthropology, but hasn't had a whole lot of field work. The furthest he got was he spent a little time at the Starstone Isles and Absalom, but that's still very much a very city-focused place and everything, and so this is very much a new experience for him. Ernest is a mastermind rogue. Intelligence is his key ability, and so he knows a lot of things and uses that to his advantage in combat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great.
Right.
And Anthony, Echo Zero.
Hello.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Let me test audio levels. Sorry, some people are saying I'm too soft. So testing. Yeah, it looks like I'm too soft. Hold on. Okay, testing. I hope that's a little better. Testing. There. Okay, go ahead, Anthony.
My name is Anthony. I have been playing role-playing games off and on since elementary school, middle school. My experience with Pathfinder 2E started, Pathfinder 1, mostly collecting and reading, but I've played a little bit of Pathfinder Society for 2nd edition, and this is now my 3rd campaign with Ronald. I've played in the higher level Abomination Vaults campaign and Kingmaker most recently, and this is actually my 2nd attempt at Quest for the Frozen Flame, because before the Abomination Vaults one, we had one set up, but it fell through before we were able to start. Let's see. I will be playing Finnur Rendsen. He is a human thaumaturge. He is weird. He's kind of eccentric, which makes sense for somebody that's
collects things.
It makes sense. He's here. He tries to fit in. Doesn't always work, but he tries, and that's the important thing. Yeah, he's I'm at a loss for words right at the moment. So
Okay.
yeah.
So he, Broken Tusk Following is a. There's only 74 members of it, and they have had an open door policy, welcoming people who prioritize the welfare of the tribe over themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. That was good. He is fairly recent to the following. He's been with the following now for a couple years. He's originally from Irison, so the weather doesn't. It's actually kind of nicer here than in Irison, a little less cold.
Mm-hmm.
But he is basically searching for a new life, and has found it with the Broken Tusk clan, who
Great.
has taken him in very generously.
Okay. And next is Mark.
Yeah, so I've been playing tabletop RPGs on and off for most of my life. Lots of like D&D 3.5, Pathfinder First Edition. Haven't played too much 2E. Like played the beginner box a couple times, ran it a couple times. I'm currently running a Strength 1000 game for some players and a 5e game for some players. Character I'm playing is going to be a young wizard from the Broken Tusk tribe. He's kind of like I envision him as just like a kind of a petulant high school kid that just wants to cut all his classes, but he gets roped into it anyways.
All right. Is he? If you were learning music, he would hate learning scales. He wants to get straight to the songs.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
He'll cut class and go grow his like collection of fungi. He'd rather do his like little hobbies than learn about all these old stories and things like that.
Okay. Next is Jim. Yeah,
Hi,
Jim.
everybody. My
Okay.
name's Jim. I've been playing tabletop RPGs since the days of Dungeons & Dragons 2nd Edition. I've been playing off and on since then, mainly really getting back into it with Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and but now I am eager to get into Pathfinder, and this is actually my first Pathfinder game.
Awesome.
My character, his name is Brom. He has been with the Broken Tusk following for about 25 years. He was brought to the following when he was 5 years old by his mother, who actually was an escaped slave from an orcish tribe in the southwestern portion of the realm of the Mammoth Lords. And he was so his mother was human. His father was actually the orcish chieftain of that tribe, and his orcish father didn't treat him well at all. So much so that his mother, when she found out that the true-born son of the orcish chieftain was plotting to have Brom killed anyway, to remove any and all rivals to gain the throne of the tribe, she escaped with him out into the wilderness, where they were found by the Broken Tusk following, and she gave him up then. He is, because of his horrible experience of dealing with his orcish chieftain father, he has a huge amount of distrust towards most authority figures. So the following put him in as one of its scouts. Mainly so that they wouldn't have to deal with him so much, that he'd be out in the wilderness helping the tribe that way. And it was out there that he started to learn the craft of being a ranger. And while he was out there, he actually managed to come across a hatchling of one of the local terror bird population, and actually raised this chick up to where it was a full young animal companion now. And even though it's young, as we can see, this is still a very big bird. Her name is Nelek, and she has actually gotten to the point where she actually serves not only to help Brom with his tracking, but also as an effective mount as he scouts ahead of the following to
Nice.
search for danger or opportunity.
Can't you eventually become huge? Can a terror bird become huge eventually?
Man, I hope so.
Jim? Do you hear me?
Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a trouble hearing you over the music. Unfortunately, it's a bit loud for me.
Did you know how to? You can't hear me saying this.
There we go. There we go.
All right.
Fix that. This is my first time running through it. What was the question?
I was asking if your bird becomes huge.
Oh, as I understand it, terror birds do not become huge. They, well, I don't think they're technically classified as megafauna or not. But I think that, so I think that Nelek will be staying large as she continues to mature.
There are spells that make them huge, though. I know.
That is very true.
We have a plan.
Next is Skritch, played by Ken, yeah?
Yep. My name is Ken, or Underhill. I have been playing Dungeons & Dragons since 4th edition came out. I kind of dabbled in 3.5 a little bit, but I really started playing in 4th edition and then 5th edition when it came out. I wanted to get into Pathfinder when 2nd edition Pathfinder came out, but I didn't have anyone in my area that played it. So I haven't really been able to do much with it until recently when I was able to play one Pathfinder Society session, and it only lasted about an hour, but I enjoyed it, so I figured I'd see if I could find somewhere else to play, and here I am.
Awesome.
I'll be playing Skritch, the goblin champion of Sarenrae, or Sister Cinder, paladin. He basically was brought up in a temple to Sarenrae. They tried to get him going on the clerical path, but he didn't take to that as well as he did to being a champion. He wanted to join the Crusades since his tribe had been destroyed by demons. And when he finally was old enough, the Crusades had sealed the world wound finally. So he went on a pilgrimage to various sites along the world wound, and eventually ran into the broken tusk, and he joined up with them.
I wanted to ask Craig, how is your character's... the common language in this part of Galarian is not Taldane, which is the common language and where most campaigns happen. Sorry, that sentence was weird. Common here is not where most... it's not what most campaigns have common as. Here the language is called Hallett, and everyone else knows Hallett, but your character studies it, right? They have more of a...
Which was very tough because, according to the lore, Hallett doesn't have a written form. So he when he studied it from books, it was all very much phonetically written out and stuff, and so he can speak it, but certainly this early in the campaign and everything, his Hallett would be like he is saying the words and you can understand what he's saying, but maybe he's making an occasional grammatical error or using the wrong term in one thing or another, but you can understand what he's saying at least, and just I guess as time goes on and he gets more practice speaking it and listening to how other people speak it, he'll become better at it. So he's understandable, but not fluent, certainly.
All right, I'm gonna say it. It's gonna be a combination of. Okay, if I were like a tourist's version of knowledge, like they'll know the common nouns, right? You know, plus an academic, combined with academic, like you're not going to know idiomatic phrases, right?
Right, yeah.
It's going to be a learning process. But yeah, I just thought that would be maybe kind of a fun thing to play off, you know, to riff off of. Yeah. As you viewers can see, we are having some session 0, figuring things out as we go. And we're also going to start a little earlier than what's written in the adventure path. So, yeah, I think we begin with Ernest Nansen, who, I don't know if you said it after we got on stream, but you might have. I was multitasking, but I think this is your actual first day with the Broken Tusk following. And the word following is the word for a tribe, because the followings are groups of humans, or not humans, humanoids who follow various migrations of animals. And as you can see, the Broken Tusks follow mammoths as they go make their rounds around the realm of the Mammoth Lords, which people who live in the realm, they just call the realm. And you see, Ernest, that, well, what brought you, how did, you were looking for this following, correct? And
I was looking for a following.
Yeah.
I wasn't very specific. I was just hoping that whoever I ran into would be friendly enough to allow me to tag along, help out in the ways I can, and learn.
Mm-hmm. Well, after seeing that you came with friendly intentions, you were brought to the following and immediately introduced to someone named Argakoa, the song singer. She welcomes you to the tribe and understands, is it true that you want to join the following?
Well, I don't know if join is quite the right term. I'm attempting to learn more. I am on a quest for knowledge, as it were. I think that it's fascinating that civilization is still able to thrive out here, where the cold and the tundra, as well as large, intimidating creatures exist. I wish to learn, and of course, I do not want to be too imposing. I will, of course, help out in any way that I can, as well.
She says, "We, the Broken Tusks, were once greater numbers, but we are, as you can see, a small following. We welcome more people to join and bring their talents to help us survive in this very cruel environment. And you should know, though," she looks at your attire, "that it is not going to be easy. You should know full well that you may not, it's not going to be comfortable. You'll be expected to, even as if you were only a guest, to help with all of the tasks that we undertake so that we can survive here."
I would expect no less. I, of course, came with full intentions to, again, help out in any way that I can.
She says, she's a bit, your sense is that she is not fully, she's a little suspicious of you. That she's, she sees you as a bit of a, someone who may not last long with the following. And she says, you should meet our, what we call him, Grandfather Eowa. He is the oldest among us. He is the only person who was with our tribe since its origins. And he meets everyone. He has the final say when it comes to who can newly join our following or travel with it. Do you she tells you that the Broken Tusk is organized into several houses. They are led by herself and several others who call themselves Mammoth Lords. She
Ah,
points.
yes, the Mammoth Lords. I know, of course, of the Mammoth Lords, and I did see. Well, they're kind of hard to miss. The mammoths as I was walking in, and I'm very excited to see them up close. Yes.
Yes. And she says that she and the other Mammoth Lords, their decisions are final. She says with a bit of a sternness.
Of course, of course.
And that they are divided into several houses. You should see the various houses if it turns out that you want to remain with us and that the following wishes to have you in it. You would be attached to one of the houses. She tells you that what you see around you is that they are doing various things. They're weaving baskets. They're also crafting various clothings that look like they are very colorful. And there are people coming back from some of them have just gathered various nuts and berries from a foraging trip. They're just now returning. And she welcomes you to she's going to introduce you to Grandfather Aowa now at this time. And she says that he is a sound judge of character. And she kind of looks at you again with that stern look. All right. So, you now see an old man. You immediately think he is very I think she had just told you he's over 100 years old. But he's able to walk. He's a bit slow, but he is 100 years old. He seems quite hale. He's quite tall. And he looks at you. And Argakoa, the song singer, introduces you to him. Here is Ernest Nansen from Opara, she says.
Opara, in the nation of Taldor, yes.
Yes, who wants to go ahead and say what brings you to us?
I am a learner and an educator, and I wish to learn more about the culture and the lifestyles here in the realm of the. I'm sorry. I'm unsure of the proper way to present myself and to address you.
Grandfather,
again,
he says.
As grandfather. Okay, I can do that. Well, grandfather, I am, and again, just like this,
he does not
I'm here
seem
to
stern
learn.
to you,
I'm here
by
to
the way.
learn your customs, your ways, but also, I don't expect to just be following along. I expect that, of course, you'll want me to aid, and I am more than willing to help you in any way that I can with my skills. Unfortunately, most of my skills are academic in nature, but
he says,
but which I know are not perhaps the best for survival. But I find myself to be a quick learner, and of course somebody who is eager to learn, and I would like to present my services to you as well as. So that I may more fully learn everything that I can.
He is taller than you. He kind of leans down a bit, kind of gives you some direct eye contact. It's a bit intimidating. You've never seen someone stare you directly in the eyes this long before. He starts to laugh. He says, welcome him. Let him come to our feast tonight. We are getting ready for the night of the green moon. He kind of gives a nodding gesture and walks away. And Argakoa is kind of looking at you, and How's your character reacting?
Sort of just like it wasn't quite expecting that, and so kind of like looking like was that do I what happens now?
She says, well, he makes the final decision. She says, if I, he is, we trust his judgment, she says.
And that was the judgment then.
He doesn't always, he's going to we will talk at some point this evening, probably during the ceremony, about what happens.
Oh, okay.
About what will happen. But you are welcome to come. You are welcome.
Great.
Feel free to eat with us and learn our ways. Walk around.
Excellent.
Yes.
Oh, where might I where might I start?
And just follow around. Go around with us. She also in the Otter House. She introduces you to some other members of the Otter House, who are in her house. That now Skritch and Brahgy, you both are in the Otter House.
Mm-hmm.
And you two tell me, how well you two get along.
Not very well.
Go on.
So, Skritch is mainly in the Otter House because of his time studying the Crusades, and he likes to give stories of the Crusades that he has heard and his stories about his pilgrimage. But he is not. He's sociable, but he's not openly sociable, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to tell stories, but he doesn't really enjoy, quote unquote, hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
He's more about kind of being around in case he's needed, and being able to lend himself to situations that might come up.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Argakoa, meanwhile, has been training Brahgy to be a song singer. Am I correct?
Yeah.
The song singers. Am I saying it right, Brahgy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Help me remember.
Yeah.
The song singers. What is their role? Do they remember the stories?
The stories and traditions of the tribe, and
Okay.
she like saw like the potential for it in him, but he's an angsty teenager and kind of apathetic about everything. So, he's like he gets along pretty well with everybody in the tribe, but as well as he can for someone who's really apathetic about everything in this like cold, harsh environment.
Mm-hmm.
But he does what he's told.
All right, and she also you also know that Argakoa senses your impatience, and your kind of not going through the lessons she goes through with you. She you perhaps recently had a little of a kind of a tiff, but she's now walking over with a strange man who is brand new. And she's telling this man about the history of the tribe, how the winters have been getting harsher, and the night of the green moon is a time of celebration. It's now when winter turns to spring, when the days grow longer than the night, and that you came especially, Ernest, at a great time. It's one of the most important times of year to us when we commemorate that.
Oh, I didn't even realize that the solstice was upon us. Wow.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Solstice is, I guess, what I would have called your green moon. I have some knowledge of astronomy as
She doesn't know what solstice or equinox or any of that means. She doesn't.
Yeah, it's like,
she just calls it the green moon. She kind of politely looks at you, not knowing what word you said in another language. So she goes over to the two of you and asks you to welcome him and to help him know about the various things that you do. You two have been tasked with. Well, basically, you've been told to meet with, that you're going to be key to having some tasks, to doing some tasks to prepare for the ceremony, which is about 4 days out. And
Yes,
so you're kind of.
Senior.
She says she doesn't actually have any tasks for you today, but now she is giving you one. You actually thought you were going to have the day off. In fact, and now you have this person here who has a lot. Craig, I imagine you have questions to ask.
Oh, absolutely. And Ernest will go right up and put his hand out and says, "Oh, I don't know. Do you shake hands or?"
So Brahgy just stares at his hands and he looks him in the eye. He's like, I don't understand anything you're saying.
Sorry, my palate isn't the best. I'm Ernest Nansen, and how is it appropriate to greet with a handshake or I don't I'm unsure.
So Brahgy's gonna reach up to his the orc head skull that he has on his head, and he has in one of the eye sockets he's growing like these exotic mushrooms, and he's gonna pick one that's like particularly moist, and he's just gonna put it in Ernest's hand and just stare at him.
I'm gonna kind of stick it up to my nose and sniff at it a little bit. Am I to eat this or what? I'm so confused.
Skritch is going to reach out his hand and take your hand, Ernest, and say, "Ernest, you said, with your name." And while he does this, he's taking the mushroom away before Ernest tries to eat it, just in case it is poisonous. Yes. Welcome to Otter House. What questions do you have for us?
Oh, so many. But first of all, I'm interested, of course, about you. Who are you? A goblin of it seems that you are very well armored, and I'm just curious
I'm
about
going to
you.
point out too that it's a bit surprising. You're seeing the diversity. It's not just humans here in the Broken Tusk tribe.
Yes.
Well, I am a champion of Sister Cinder. You may know her as Saren Ray.
Yes.
We honor her here in the Broken Tusk following. I was not a crusader, but I wanted to be a crusader before they closed the World Wound. Have you heard about the World Wound?
Oh, of course. I have studied quite a bit of geography in my time, and I know about of the World Wound, and it was closed fairly recently, just several years ago or something, from my understanding.
Exactly. I undertook a pilgrimage across some portions of the World Wound to see what had happened with it, and I came upon the Broken Tusk following not too many years ago myself.
And they welcomed you very openly and freely.
Mostly, yes. I mean, they really want to have their following expand to include as many people as they can in order to survive and thrive.
Wow.
And I'm going to point out to all the players, you guys have not. There's a prestigious role called being scouts for people viewed to be very particularly talented, and given them the most difficult task of going ahead of the tribe and finding danger before the tribe encounters it. But a number of you want to aspire to be that hope, I assume. But anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, Brahgy and Ernest. Brahgy's a bit, has just offered a mushroom. I don't know. You want to
Brahgy's
follow
gonna
up?
reach down and pick up the mushroom that Skritch like threw away, and he's gonna brush it off and just pop it in his mouth.
What?
I see.
I apologize if I had in any way insulted you. What's you are a young man. Actually, remind me a lot of my students back in Opara. What sort of things do you do within the tribe?
Well, I'm supposed to be a song singer in training, but really, Argakoa just makes me do all her menial labor. She made me wash the aurochs last week. Do you know how long that takes? It's the worst.
They are quite a large animal.
Yes.
Doing chores is good for you.
All right.
Brahgy's gonna lean down to Skritch and he's gonna like whisper in his ear, "Are outsiders always this dense?"
Probably. I'm pretty sure I was.
Ernest has quickly gotten distracted by something happening nearby, and he sees them doing like some basket weaving nearby, and he's fascinated by it because you know he's probably always just purchased baskets from a store. So
Okay. He's also, am I taking it a little uncomfortable? So.
oh yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Very uncomfortable. Well, you also see, people tending to the mammoths, which must be fascinating to Ernest as well. There's also a giant bird that someone is tending to. Night is starting to fall, and you see more people arriving back into to reunite with the group. And you see people starting to tend to a fire that's going to be lit up after dark. It's already becoming quite, you've experienced the winter here so far. It's becoming very, very cold. And Argakoa returns to you and says that she hopes that her house welcomed you warmly with open arms. She asks if she assumes. She says she is. Did they do that?
Well, yes, I believe so. I believe I was handed something, and I think that was maybe a gesture of friendship.
Mm-hmm. All right. She walks over to Brahgy and says that. So she says that Grandfather Eowa is going to be telling a story tonight, and it's one that you've heard before, and she wants you to sit next to her tonight, so that you know that this means she's going to keep a close eye on you tonight. There'll be less wandering off and talking to people. But anyway, this following is only 74 people. Everybody knows each other. And there is a night's falling. Let's see. Can we do this? Oh, I'm having fun here with lights. Oh, look. I want to make it like a fire. Hold on. I have to make fun out of these things. Okay, cool. There we go. That's nice. All right, so feel free to gather. Here is a strikingly handsome man named Pecano, who has two young ladies, speaking with him right here. You also see two women who are identical twins, but one of them is very pregnant. Actually, do I have a picture of her? Of her very pregnantness. Yes, here we go. Okay, very pregnant. And there's also Grandfather Awa. You see him again, Ernest. And he goes, and a lot of the children are gathered together as a group. And people are telling stories, talking about this and that. Basically, things are occupied by the children kind of running around. That's what passes the time. And Grandfather Awa, people start to talk about stories, things that they remember, things for the children to hear. There's stories of about the courtship of one middle-aged couple. There's a lot of laughter echoing through the night as it's a very clear night. And Grandfather Awa now starts and clears his throat. And once he clears his throat, everyone immediately falls silent. He's clearly venerated by everybody in the tribe. It's clearly understood by everyone that his many years mean that he will not live very long. He begins... I remember the years of struggle, long stretching seasons where sunlight was sparse and the hungry night arrived all too quickly. I remember the rites and the songs as we laid follower after follower to rest, forced to move ever onward. Parent and child, animals, friends, none were safe as we carved our new paths and founded our new lives. Tonight, and he looks up at the mountains around you, in the shadow of these great mountains, I share with you a story from another time, when your grandparents were small, squalling babes, some of whom I sang lullabies to, and he laughs. And instead of a seer's sharp mind, I had the strength and skill of a hunter. I was a young man. At this point, Argokoa kind of gives you eye contact, Brahgy, and she says, "Oh, this story. She's heard this story before." And you heard this story before too. She looked
so.
Yeah.
Would it be inappropriate for Brahgy to? He's got a little like hand drum that he carries around his belt. Would it be inappropriate for him to do like a performance that accompanies grandfather's story, just like a little gentle beat, like emphasizing what he's saying because he's heard it before and kind of knows how it goes?
Sure.
Okay. Performance? Or just
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
And he continues. I was a skilled archer. With the silence of a great cat, I stalked prey. And he kind of imitates the movement of a cat and causes the children to giggle. With a sharpness of eye to rival the falcons, I watched over our following. with the patience of a mammoth. I knew when to lay still and when to strike with all the strength I had. What I did not know, and he looks at the children, was when to use each. Sometimes a well-meaning action creates more trouble than anything. And there's a couple of kids that have not learned the rules, that are kind of distracted at this moment, and they see all the signs and realize that they have to pay attention. There's also one girl to the side with a porcupine. That's her pet. That's kind of off to the side. That's not with the other children. And that stands out to you, Ernest. Take this journey with me and see things as they were. The time of the year was close to the very season we enjoy now, when daylight just begins to stretch further than the darkness, and the snow finally begins to melt. Around our feet, the trails grew slushy and difficult to traverse. But the days began to grow brighter, and with them came hope. And a number of you in your mind's eye can, as he describes what he looked like, get a clear mental picture of that as... So give me a second. Oh, sorry. Something should have been simpler. Okay. These were my favorite times of the year. The crispness of the blue sky was a welcome friend. Have you noticed that the sky never seems so bright, so vivid as during the melts? Perhaps these days I am more comfortable in the warmest seasons, but I will always love the newness of the daylight, reborn and glorious as it chases the hard winter away. And during this time, we were only a few years into establishing the routes we now use every year. Both our herd and our numbers were still small. We had only recently started recruiting others into our following, and teaching them the ways of the broken tusk. And I, a young man, perhaps only a little older than some of you now, he points at the children. But I was still an adult in the eyes of the following, but young enough to be over-eager to prove myself. And my day's task was to scout ahead. I was to learn which creatures had awakened from slumber, which patches of grass had revealed themselves from beneath the snow, and to ensure that the herd's next resting spot would be free of predators and other dangers. I took no partner with me save for Isul, my beloved friend, my air rider, such a magnificent falcon. He too was eager to explore the way ahead, and so I encouraged him to go. It was exhilarating to be exploring by myself, knowing Isul was not too far away. So I stepped carefully along the sprouting grasses and dotted pools of melted snow. Argako is looking at you, saying he's putting a lot more detail this time. And you kind of recognize her, her impatience at Grandfather Awa right now reminds you, you kind of realize, oh, I know this feeling.
Brahgy just kind of like rolls his eyes at her.
I came upon a spot that led to a shallow riverbed. I was stirred by its beauty and felt a swell of pride, for this would be a fantastic resting spot for the herd. In my excitement, I did not pay close enough, alas, for by the time I had approached, too late did I see the giant creature already there. And at this dramatic pause, the children widen their eyes and gasp. Only the children, because all the adults have heard this story before.
Ernest does too.
I froze in place, watching and waiting, hoping the massive bear, and the children gasp. Behind the gasp is like a double gasp. Would be more interesting.
Brahgy's little drum play is like building up, and it's like a little more intense now, and like really emphasizing what he's saying.
And you notice as you beat the drums, you have like a direct effect on the children and how they experience this. It's an intoxicating feeling. I hope to be more interested in this river than in me, but for now it seemed oblivious to me. I should have let it be, children. I should have reported it back to the others. And he kind of gets up from his sitting spot. And he kind of reenacts, like, points in the direction as if the bear's right there. But a thought crossed my mind, and he taps his temple. How fantastic would it be, not just to return to the following with news of this beautiful resting site, but to crown that achievement with another, a grizzled bear already brought down to feed our people. I see some of you already shaking your heads at the thought, and you are right to do so. Well, you know by now that you should never hunt bear by yourself. Only I was convinced I was not alone. I could call for Isul. Together, Isul and I could handle anything. And the longer I thought about it, the more I persuaded myself it was the best choice. Food was in short supply after all, and the great creature could provide much. So I crouched low. He's about to bend down to try to imitate it, but he knows better, and he declines to crouch low. I went into the muddy bank and began readying my bow, but when I looked up, I was not ready to see the great beast charging me. The children are now completely silent, no gasping, they're just listening. It had seen me. My presence startled it, and I suddenly understood how alone I really was. In a space of a few seconds, my many thoughts ran through my mind. Where is Isul? I cannot outrun the bear. I don't have time to make more than one shot. I should have waited. Ancestors, let me live through this, and I shall not make this mistake again. The brown bear bounded toward me, then stopped short with a mighty thump of its front paws. It growled, teeth clacking. I began backing away from it, slowly, hoping this was the only charge the creature would make. But I was wrong. It surged forward again with similar body language, only this time it connected, knocking me back into the mud. Ooh! Panic surging. I knew my greatest chance of living right now was to feign death. I rolled instantly to my stomach and cradled my head and neck with my arms. And the little children are kind of imitating his movement now. Already, my hip was stinging from where the bear had made contact, but at least my instinct was correct. With a mighty thump that shook the mud, he stomped once more, but not on me. I could not see him, but in my mind's eye, he was only a few scant feet away. Let him be content, I prayed. Let him go away. Then, at that moment, I turned my head. The bear had reared up, swiping at a blur of speed, dark feathers surrounding sharp eyes. Isul had returned, and the children cheer. My beloved friend dove at the bear, distracting him, leading him away from me. I sat up gasping, and in frenzied haste looked around for my bow. There, at the water's edge, I dove for it, despite my pain. My hand fumbled to draw an arrow from my quiver, and with horror, I realized only one arrow remained. The others had tumbled out as the bear had pushed me. I had to make this one shot count. I whistled sharply, a signal to Isul. My falcon friend responded immediately, as I knew he would. He circled up around the bear's head once, leading the great creature just far enough away. In a moment, he would circle again and expose the bear's chest and shoulder to me. It is very hard to get an exact shot at a bear's heart, especially when it's already aggravated, but Isul was well practiced, and we had hunted together many times. This at least was a perfect moment. Isul wheeled, the bear turned, and Isul flew back towards me, and the bear was facing me directly. For one frozen moment our eyes met, the bear's and mine's, and then, with more precision than I'd ever had, I loosed the arrow. The missile flew true, and I was rewarded with the telltale spray of blood, the muscular spasm, as the animal decided whether to flee or fight. And then it slumped over. Took me a long moment to work up the nerve to ensure the bear was finished, but finished it was. I sent Isul back to the following with a message asking for assistance. It wasn't precisely as I'd imagined. The following had to help me as much as help with the bear. And then he looks at the children. Truly, my following, this is the most important lesson I can give from the tale tonight. We are best when we work together. We must learn to ask for and accept help when needed. The man who's talking to the two young women is not paying attention. My intentions were good, but it was a foolish choice that nearly cost me my life, and nearly cost the following one of its hunters. We are made weaker with each loss of life, just as we are made stronger with each new addition to the following. He kind of looks at Ernest and kind of with significance, and I don't know if you have any reaction at this time, Ernest.
No.
No? This night I see you all here with me, listening and learning our ways, honoring each other and those who came before. I see you gathered, people of all shapes, sizes. My heart is grown and happy. I celebrate you this night, Broken Tusks, and we will face bravely whatever challenges come our way. And the kids kind of yawn, stretch. It's clearly the end of his story. You know that this is the end of the story, Mark. And people get to the eating. Hot, freshly cooked meats that was hunted. Not plenty of meats. It's far outnumbered by the berries and roots that you had found. The big feast is for the night of the Green Moon. So, you have just experienced your first night with a broken tusk, Ernest. And
yeah, Ernest is pretty soon. He eats fairly quickly, and then goes by the fire, pulls out a book and pen, and just starts scribbling and writing.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the story, when the children all start yawning, Skritch kind of lets out his breath because he had been holding it, didn't realize he'd been holding it, and
Holding what?
he looks around and holding his breath.
Mm-hmm.
He lets out like a long sigh, and he looks around and says, I think he embellished a little bit more this time. I don't remember all the stories, but it seemed like there was more detail this time on this one.
Those of you who have been with the following for a while knows that this story gets more dramatic every time he tells it. From any of our players that have not, whose characters have not directly interacted with Ernest yet, any thoughts?
Yes. Finnur noticed the man at the beginning, but didn't felt that it was right to say anything. Mm-hmm. However, once the story was over, and the man is now writing in a book, he likes books. So he sort of tiptoes his way up there to him and sort of looks over his shoulder. What do you write?
And if you look at the pages, he's writing in Taldane, so you probably don't understand it. But but he kind of looks over, didn't notice you coming up, and goes, "Oh, hello. I'm sorry. I was just writing down my thoughts about today. I'm new around here. Ernest Nansen."
Oh, yes. Yes, names are important. We must know each other's names. My name is Finnur. It's nice to meet you. See, though I don't recognize those words. Now, see, I do know how to write and I do know how to read, but I don't know how to write and I don't know how to read that. What is that?
Oh, this is Taldane, my native tongue. I don't. Well, it's again the first language I ever spoke, but I speak other languages well enough.
This is not my first language, and he switches over to his native tongue, which, if you don't, I've looked on the cheat sheet. Nobody actually speaks it. Is Skull. This is my language, but, and then he switches back. But this is the language we use here. Now, I don't know how to read and write that, but I do know how to read and write, and words are very important, and we write them down sometimes. Yes. But thoughts. I think thoughts. You say them. Yes. And you share them with people. Yes. Hi.
Okay. Yes. Ernest looks very taken aback by this. Just all of the talking and stuff, and it's just like, sorry, your name was again?
Oh, my name is Finnur Rendsen. Now, I've not been. See, I am mostly new here, but I'm not as new as you. I've been here for 2 seasons. Well, there's 4 seasons in a year, but they kind of run together because winter is very cold here. But the winters are not as cold here as they are in Irison, and that's where I come from. He looks around. I think it's over there. Now,
it is northish of here. Yes.
No, it's somewhere. Now, why are you here? Not that it's not. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that there's people here and they come and you learn. You are here to learn, aren't you? Yes. I see things and I hear things and I know things. Shh.
Good. Yes. I am here to learn and hopefully to and also hopefully to be of a help in any way that I can.
Oh, I'm sure you'll be plenty of help, and I know things too. But I don't know things. Well, I know things, and they tell me. Shh. They tell me things, but most of what I know does not come from books, or they might be from books, but I don't know them because of the books. You may know things because of them. Maybe I should see what things you know from books, and then see if I know those things from.
Argokoa walks over and looks at Ernest and says, "I hope you are. Are you doing all right, Ernest?" She seems like she's sees Finnur as kind of might be disrupting what you're doing.
It's I'm fine. I think I.
She says she sees your writing and she says, "I've never seen much the use of putting things down on papers."
It's a way that I use to organize my thoughts and also, hopefully to remember. And I guess it's sort of like your oral tradition that you have, whereas instead of memorizing the stories and the songs, I prefer to just write them down.
Yes, but what if... What happens with these... What if you are gone? Then the stories die.
Well, the hope is that somebody else might pick up the writings and learn from them.
Well, she explains to you that the tribes, we don't carry much. We can't carry much with us. books would weigh us down, pieces of writing. That's why we have song singers that keep things, because the songs are never forgotten.
Yes, that does make sense.
Papers can be lost. Books.
They can indeed.
All right. She's kind of looking warily at Finnur and making, trying to see Finnur as kind of a not. Anyway, you all can kind of sense her attitude. So
yeah, and Ernest is relieved that this isn't normal behavior.
Yes.
At which point Brom steps up, claps Finnur on the back, and says, "Is the new arrival giving you a bit of trouble, Finn?"
No. Just want to find out what it is that he does, and he knows things too, and I know things. Do you know things?
Is your bird with you at all times?
You know things.
By the way, Jim?
It depends on what kind of things you want to know. He turns to Ernest and gives us a slight nod. Brom, at your service. Now.
Remind me, Brom is a dwarf, right?
He's a half-orc.
Oh, he's a half-orc. Just kidding.
And to which Brom then continues. Tell me, you hear that you say that you're here to learn you say that you're here to learn about what the Broken Tusks are all about, right?
Yes, that is in fact part of my reason for being here. I seek knowledge. Yes.
Well, I think that the knowledge you'll find out here might be a little bit different from the kind of knowledge you're used to, if I may reckon. I saw you when you walked in. I was the fella over in the stalls tending to the giant bird.
Yes.
You just heard this. You just heard the story from old Grandpa Aor about his hunt with his bird companion. Well, that's what I do. Only my bird companion is less on the flying and more on the running side of things, and it's less in the way of flying in people's faces and more biting their necks. See, I'm a hunter. I'm one of the hunters too, and you'll need to learn a lot about how to survive out here if you're to make it very long. You strike me as a very cultured individual. Well, you'll have to learn fast if you're going to be staying with us any length of time. Mainly about how to stay alive in the natural world.
Of course. I'm eager to learn. Yes.
It's certainly something I might be able to help you with.
Is Brom? It sounds to me like Brom's being, like, very friendly. I'm just trying, but Ernest sounds terrified. Am I wrong?
Ernest is kind of just. It's a bit much, you know. He's being a teacher. He's very much used to speaking, but having multiple people around him talking to him about and just talking to him and not asking questions about his last lecture and stuff is fairly discomforting.
All right. So he's working his way, through it all. I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, I think that's to which I think that Brom looks over and sees a scrap of meat near the fire that one of the children had dropped, and he said, "Well, it was nice to make your acquaintance." He snatches the piece of meat from the ground. I need to go off and give this to Nelly. Nice little bit of sweetmeats that she don't normally get.
All right.
It was likewise nice to meet you. Yes.
There's a little girl laughing with the porcupine. She's running over to you and saying, "We've been wanting me to get you to talk to her." she's kind of laughing, but not quite yet, because Picano's really mad. You see that Picano is like in a heated argument, and Weepa's trying to kind of wave him off. Picano's yelling at her, but she's just kind of like trying to ignore him right now.
Well, somewhat lack of respect for his elders, it seems.
Yeah, but after a few moments, it looks like Weepa
signals
to you. She's the person who's very pregnant, if we will recall.
I will approach and I will say, hello, Weepa. I understand your name is?
Yep, she also gathers Skritch, everyone who is going to be joining tomorrow morning together for a little assignment. She tells you, let me put her up. She introduces herself as Weepa. Some of you who are in the following know her as, she is someone who is in mourning. Her husband died a few weeks ago, and she is due to bear what looks to be twins, is her guess, within the next week or two. And she has been in mourning, reclusive, but she has decided to... She says she's going to impart some skills to you tomorrow morning. You will be going on a hunt, and she will, through this hunt, test you, and that a number of you have already shown many of your skills over the past period of time. And she also welcomes Ernest, who's brand new. And this is an opportunity to possibly be a group of scouts for the following. And the young man who's next to her looks very angry at this. He's and he kind of interrupts her and says, despite one of you being brand new. He just kind of interrupts her.
I mean, while I may be leaning to agree with you, I think that even if I am not the most help out there, that at least I'll be able to learn much. Perhaps even from you, Picino? Was it Picino?
That's her sister, her twin sister. You're speaking with Weepa right now. Let me.
Oh, Weepa is.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, she nods and says, "Well, Grandfather Eowa said himself that you should be part of this group, and so it shall be."
Brahgy's gonna speak up, and he's gonna say, "Well, at least the new one knows enough to listen to Grandfather."
Brom also says, he also made it out here by himself. Knows how to survive out there at least a little bit.
Well, I'm very good knowing the land, and being able to find safer places to be, just from the local geography, and he kind of turns to Weepa and kind of goes, Are you sure that you're good to be going out far from the following when you're so... no offense, of course, meant, but I mean, it looks as though... and he's trying to find the correct word, and instead of saying that she's very pregnant, he accidentally says something about like having a parasitic infection.
She kind of she doesn't believe what she's hearing. She kind of looks at you for a second, and then she hopes she didn't hear what she heard, and then says, "I am going to be fine. I assure you, I am a skilled hunter, And besides what we are hunting tomorrow, we want to hunt a moose. You will be walking up to, not I.
Very well, very well.
Brahgy's gonna turn to Ernest and ask, "What is geography?"
Oh, it's a study of the land, and where locations are, and formations of the land, rivers and streams, and that sort of thing.
Why didn't you just say land?
Because that, I feel, would be oversimplifying it.
Brahgy just kind of rolls his eyes and kind of wanders away.
Meanwhile, Picano's kind of saying, Picano and you, Skritch, have been he's been kind of approaching you over the past few weeks, talking about how a lot of the elders keep secrets from the younger people. And I don't know if you are, if you've been, he also strikes you as a bit arrogant. I don't know if you, if you get along with them. What do you think?
Probably not along with him, but I tolerate him.
Okay.
He's more. I'm assuming he's more of a tough guy type fighter type person.
Yeah.
Like a hunter or skilled. Yeah. So I would probably tolerate him just because of knowing what he is capable of.
You also know he is a descendant of Grandfather Aowa himself too. You just know that. He tells you once again they are making decisions that make no sense. Having this new person join us, don't you think that is ridiculous and dangerous?
Everyone knew it sometime. We all have to learn.
He shakes his head. He says he doesn't know if this is a good idea.
It's not as dangerous as giving you a spear.
So the people are starting to finish their meals, and Weepa says that after when the sun rises to meet with her in the morning, and she will lead you out to find what specifically you are to do is hunt the game that will be the meal for the night of the Green Moon.
Ooh.
So it's a very important task, she says, and that is actually the consolation for Picano. he knows that the success of this will be known throughout the whole tribe. Okay. Do any of you want to... Oh, and this, by the way, is Nocta, the healer. This is, she heads the Moose House, and which Finnur is in. And she, every morning at dawn, she does, as the sun rises, she does morning meditations, and she invites people to join her. Finnur, as well as Brahgy, who she has taken a special interest in. She is their spellcasters are few and far between among the followings, and she takes a particular, and she has a cunning mind and is able to master primal magics, and she is a very strong healer, and she's already taken an interest in mentoring Brahgy. So she I don't know if Brahgy and Finnur just want to know whether you would be joining her during the sunrises, if that's a thing you would be doing.
I feel like Brahgy doesn't want to, but he does.
Okay. All right.
Well, Finnur is definitely there. He's been learning medicine from her, and which he has knowledge of herbs and herbalism and whatnot, but she is very good and has been teaching him more formal medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and she tolerates him better than other people. She's a
Okay.
lot more patient. So he is taking a liking to her. So
Yeah.
yeah, he will definitely be there.
All right. She definitely. Anyone who wants to learn, she's particularly has an affinity to. Okay. So she is going to. Apropos, this is a good stopping point. Let's go 10 minutes, and then we'll do the moose hunt after the 10-minute break.
All
Does
right.
that sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. 10 minutes.
Hey, Craig. I just wanted to say, like, Brahgy's kind of like picking at Ernest a little bit, but it's not like personal or anything. It's just like doesn't understand him. Is trying to like suss him out, you know.
Yeah. It's what it is, and I mean, he is a newcomer, you know, and very much someone who doesn't look like they fit in out here. Strength and constitution of +0, so
help
definitely
me out
doesn't
here.
look sturdy.
Help me out here. I'm trying to think of a way to get his name wrong, and it be like good and fit. Like I just can't. Like Ernest is such a, I don't know, like a unique, almost pompous name. You know what I mean? Like highbrow. I'm trying to think of a
Would
way
he
to
try
like.
to? Would he be getting
break
it
it
wrong
down.
on purpose?
Yeah. Well, not
Okay.
even wrong on purpose, but maybe like it's just different
Ernst.
tongue.
Yeah, maybe Ernst or maybe you could use his last name.
Yeah, I thought about that too.
Call him Nancy.
Nancy. There we go. Perfect.
What does Ernest's like? What does his hair look like? Does he have bushy hair, thin hair?
I mean, he's hasn't been able to keep it very well out here, so it's a little bit longer and a little scraggly, you know, just but it looks as though it's something that he has kept shorter in the past. Like it's grown out weird, like the cut was definitely made to be shorter.
I mean, maybe Brahgy could call him Ear Nest.
In my mind palace, I'm picturing Ernest as like this just skinny, like pale guy with a little pot belly, you know?
Not even with a pot belly, really. Just thin.
Just thin. Okay.
He's that just the way I wrote it is he's always been just genetically smaller in stature and stuff. He's only 5'10", weighs 150 pounds. It's a small guy.
When you were describing him previously, my first thought was Daniel Jackson from the Stargate movie,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
but older. So
Yeah. He is in his late 30s. So
oh, that would definitely be Daniel Jackson from the Stargate movie then.
Yep.
Okay. Is Mark?
So I have to
joining
ask
us?
Ronald,
Is
how
Mark
much
with us?
of that story was
Yeah, I'm
was
ready.
word for word what was in the adventure path, and how much of that was you adding to it?
99%. Well, the grandfather Awa's story is from the a piece of fiction written by one of the Pizer writers, but everything else was
Can you
You know,
post that
all
in
the
like
setup.
the group chat somewhere? The story?
yeah. No, actually, I think you can just type Awa's lesson.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think.
All right, so I've got my sister here now. She's got us logged in on the forge, so we can try to manage stuff.
Great. My cat moves around a lot, so I move my Megan can. Okay. Yeah. A lot of that was you could call it homebrew, I guess, but a lot of the characters were introduced and pretty fleshed out. All of the characters are provided in the adventure. They're part of the tribe. So the new day dawns. It's another clear day. There are members of the tribe giving thanks to Sister Cinder. It's a pretty, what's the word? Mild day. You see the shoots of grass starting to emerge for the spring, and Weepa gathers you all. Picano comes, and he looks eager for a fight. He is really excited about taking down big game. He immediately tells you that he's taken down an aurochs before. As you all arrive,
Brahgy rolls his eyes.
But Kano,
well, if you're going to be a storyteller, you need to listen to stories, Picano says.
but Kano,
Well, here's a story for you, Picano. You seem to forget that I already put 2 arrows in that aurochs before you landed the killing blow.
Ah, you're a storyteller too, making up stories. Here, he tells
I heard
Ernest.
it was 3.
Ernest, Brom has a big. He likes to add to stories. He tells Ernest.
That's, I suppose, perfectly fine.
Ah,
Only
why am I
the
talking
true
to you?
bits that Picano leaves out.
you'll see. You'll see. You'll see on this trip who's really deserves to be a scout for the tribe. We'll see.
I hope it's not me. It sounds exhausting.
So wait, hold on. Out of character. So Brahgy does not want to be a scout.
I mean, he just wants to grow his mushrooms. He does what he's told.
Okay. Hold on. So on that front, are you seeing a personal arc for him? As
Oh yeah, I see him growing into
Okay.
his role in the tribe and everything. Yeah.
all
for
right,
sure.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Weepa says she says that there was signs of a moose in the area, and she already and she leads you out at a slower pace than she normally could, and she says she immediately starts pointing to some trampled grasses and also signs and some grasses that have been eaten as well recently, and with that, and she explains to you what she's doing and how she's able to track down the moose. She surmises that the moose is probably going to get a drink of water at the nearby river, and so you guys are now walking along that river. And she is not surprised, none of you are surprised, she is a skilled hunter after all, to see this large moose. And real talk, mooses are huge. Moose?
yes,
They're really big.
the last megafauna left on North America.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as we're kind of, as she's showing us the the tracks and stuff, I'm asking her how I mean, are you sure it's a moose? How do you know it's a moose? I don't understand that still.
Well, she explains to you that it's solitary, and that its preference for certain plants are that of a moose. The mammoths would be much larger, first of all. This is also a wandering around on the land. She explains to you a process of elimination.
Yeah.
And also she points to some of the tracks and also points out to you that some of the footprints are she can narrow it down to a couple of creatures too. And she and Picano talks about how great moose tastes. And in the distance,
we'll be finding out.
Now the hard part is killing it, she says, and she tells you all to be silent and to follow her lead. Beyond the forest copse ahead, beyond some thick foliage, the dim morning light outlines a lone bull moose, almost as big as a baby mammoth, and it casts. The morning sun causes it to cast a wide shadow on the ridge to the north across the river. The sound of the stream trickles, and that sound intermingles with that of the moose idly munching on tender grass sprouting from the recently thawed tundra. And you lurk behind the foliage, and here we go. You are waiting for the right moment to strike. And Picano says, "Why don't we just go after it already?" And Weepa just dismisses him with a wave of her hand and says, "We cannot. In a straight on fight, it is stronger than us, faster than us, bigger than us. We won't win. We need to do something to distract it."
I am not on this map.
I will add you to this map. This
There
is a
we are.
lot of tokens. 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, that's because of this guy. All right. And she suggests that you try a few things. She points at some of the trees that are only starting to leaf around you and says that some of their branches could be used to stick up from the ground in some of the moose's likely paths. Some of you who are not Ernest also have an idea of how to imitate the sound of a moose, of a female moose. And there are some bushes that have already sprouted lots of leaves that you could also rustle to make sounds. So those are some suggestions. She's basically saying you don't want to just simply startle it and you don't simply want to go up to it and fight it, is what she's saying. That's what she's saying. You want to prepare things beforehand.
Brom, you're the hunter. What do we do?
Well, I was thinking about a couple of different avenues that we could use to approach this. I note that there's some bushes over here. I happen to be able to I happen to be trained in stealth. So anyone who is trained in stealth could potentially hang out in these bushes here and prepare for prepare to launch ranged attacks against a moose if we're able to get it funneled over this way. Obviously, we want to stay away from it as much as possible in terms of melee. We want to use range if possible to bring this thing down. Is anyone else trained to be able to move quietly through underbrush?
I'm somewhat proficient in being stealthy, but not extremely so.
I also note that you... is that a bow that you've got strapped across your back also, Professor?
Yes. I am proficient with the bow.
Well, I think that you posting up in those bushes to launch for support might also be of help. Now, another thing that might also be
Weepa
very helpful
also is
to
going
know
to be staying behind the party from a distance, like 150 feet away with her longbow, in case that her help is needed. But she's not. She's going to stay away from it.
If we want to keep it away from us, it might be beneficial to entangle it. Do you think? Maybe if we were able to set up some sort of something to entangle it.
Okay, and also everyone feel free to. You can use skills to try to recall, to ask questions, to see if your character can ask the GM certain questions, find things in the environment, something more specific than I use Arcana or I use nature. You know.
Are there some sort of like I'm thinking maybe if I could put together something to ensnare the moose, make it more difficult for it to move around, would like maybe if I could put something together like crafting.
Ah, well, let's say you had that conversation earlier on the way here, and Weepa says, "Ah, you are you are a clever fellow." She tells you, "I in fact hoped to teach you about some snares, but we are already here, and so is the moose. It would take some time. It would have been something to prepare the night before."
I could maybe trip it up with something.
I will kind of
But
tag on.
I'm sorry.
uh,
Weepa also says that maybe some things not as effective as snares in the environment could be found, though. But she's now far away from the group.
Can I do a nature check to see if there are any kind of divots in the ground over here that pockets in the ground that could potentially trip something that's barreling through them, like the bull moose?
Okay. All right. Let me do a. Okay, and your nature bonus.
I have a nature bonus of +5.
Okay, and also would kind of count it as a perception check too. You're not finding any. It looks pretty level to you.
Okay.
You're not finding any particular path that is more perilous for a charging moose than the others at this time.
How about if there are thorns, thorn bushes, or anything that it could potentially be driven into?
Ah. Well, you see that there's a particular some of the there are some low-lying gnarly bushes here that could pose a problem if we were to try to go through them. That might do some damage if we were to try to walk through them.
Whippa said something about a distraction. Do you guys have any ideas about that?
Well, to which I guess that Brom turns to Finnur and says, "Finnur, what about that bell of yours?"
What? You know, I was thinking that that would draw its attention, and I could just be like, it would draw its attention, but I could go maybe over there, and then draw it towards me, and then you guys could come around it, around it.
From behind.
Set up for a flanking maneuver then.
Flank maneuvers and whatnot, so as to draw it possibly through areas of effect or terrain that might be disadvantageous to it.
I'm not very quiet, but I can go over there with you in case it does get near enough to you to attack, to offer some protection and weaponry and melee.
So if I went over, where is it? There, and rang the bell, hopefully bringing the moose towards me, which might draw it through this area here, would give opportunity for some folks to put some arrows into it, perhaps. Maybe cut it down a little bit. And I do have a javelin to contribute to that. only one because somehow my math was wrong and I had to get rid of one.
Oh, just in case, while are we still technically in exploration mode right now?
Yeah.
All right, just so that we're all nice and ready when encounter mode starts. I want to designate the moose as my hunted prey.
Gotcha. And
And I've got my shield raised.
okay. That was the champion, right?
That was Skritch, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else want to do a different exploration activity besides avoiding notice?
I don't think I can use exploit vulnerability in exploration mode. No, it does not have that trait, so...
What trait?
Oh, I was looking at exploit vulnerability to see if it had the exploration trait, but it doesn't look like it's usable in exploration mode.
No, I think what you would want to find out is whether you cannot enter a monk stance in exploration. And that's because the stance trait specifically says you cannot do it outside of an encounter. That's how I treat it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm just ready to move over to that area and throw my javelin at it. Or we'll ring my bell and then throw the javelin at it as necessary.
I would like to actually go ahead and make a recall knowledge on the moose itself, just to figure out if, are there any sounds that particularly annoy it or anything like that?
Okay. Well, you know that this moose and the time of year mean that it is very, it is looking for a companion female moose. You also know that there aren't any, any sudden noises in general would distract it because there's generally no larger creatures around it normally.
Well,
so maybe Finnur, instead of the bell, you could do a female moose call to try to draw the bull moose into the bushes here.
You know, I think, yes, I could do that, or something like that. Yes, I can do it.
Picano, you could pretty quiet.
Says, "When are we going? Can we just go?"
Well,
Picano,
talk. Perhaps. Do you? Well, it's important that we know what we're doing before going in. I think, and I would certainly appreciate any sort of. I think we all would appreciate any sort of input that you'd have. This is sort of his teacher coming out, trying to include everyone.
He kind of looks at you, at Ernest, and says, "I'll stab it. You do your sit whatever you do," he says contemptuously.
I think the question, Puck, is where are you going to stab it from? Are you going to be with us, or are you going to be on the opposite side of it?
You realize he hasn't really been listening? And he says, I'll stab it. Whichever means I stab it.
Okay.
In the interest of moving this along, So I'm thinking that I'm gonna come over in this area over here, draw its attention. It'll hopefully move towards me, allowing others to flank it
Token from
and
or should be more.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I would imagine Skritch would going with me.
Skritch being over there, wherever he is.
All right. Why don't you, Skritch? Should Skritch go with him too?
Yeah, can you ping where Finnur is? Because I don't have names on the tokens on my side, so I don't know who's who as far as the tokens go.
Did you see that? Skritch? Did you see the ping? Oh.
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right. As Skritch is going across, the moose's head rises and looks over in your direction, and goes back
Skritch
to.
Skritch isn't very stealthy. He has a -2 to stealth, so
It continues to munch. It seems to have confidence in its big size.
Well,
Shall we get the show on the road?
okay. Then I will do my best female moose impersonation.
All right,
And,
give me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as myself, I have no idea what that would sound like.
Oh, this is
So
what dice rolls are for.
if take the Looney Tunes approach.
Good thing we don't have to role play everything.
So I will do my best to impersonate that in order to set this in motion.
All right, do a skill deception check.
Alrighty, let's
Oh,
All right. Anyone
That's
else
all
had any?
natural ability.
Okay, was this this and having the moose charge through these bushes was the plan, right? Is that
General
everything?
plan, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Moose,
It begins.
Female Moose over here.
All right. So we are going to roll initiative, and everybody, I think, I want everyone to roll stealth for initiative. Yeah.
all right.
Including the non-stealthy Skritch. Okay, can you explain how to do that?
Skritch
for
does not
myself?
have to because Skritch noticed that the moose noticed
Okay.
it.
Okay. So how do
There
I
we go.
do I have to click on my token or anything like in Roll20?
In the upper right corner, you see the little fist. You see the row of buttons,
Yep.
and one looks like a fist. That's the initiative tracker.
You can also
Okay.
press C.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then what? From there, click on.
Did you open the encounter tracker?
It opened something. Where is it? Oh, we got it, I think.
So you see the initiative?
Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Roll.
Okay, and Brom should still roll initiative.
Okay.
Okay.
On the rolling for initiative, it's defaulting to perception.
Oh yeah, in your character sheet on the left-hand side, there is a drop-down menu. Sorry, I should have explained that. That lets you change
okay.
the skill you use for initiative.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
And Finnur,
Now we roll.
yeah.
I just want to make sure, did it roll for Skritch?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Skritch, before anyone else, you see that this is not going to go as planned, Skritch. You hear Finnur's moose call. It doesn't sound anything like a moose, anything like a female. It's failing on all counts. What do you do? And you can also delay if you want.
All right, so I hear the moose call not being a moose call, and I will kind of give a quizzical look over to Finnur, and I will delay my turn.
Okay.
Will that allow me to keep my shield raised at that point, or is
Oh,
that
one
during my
important
turn?
distinction about delaying: you don't get to do reactions. I don't know if you would want to
Okay.
do that.
I see what you're saying. All right, so how far am I from the moose?
Currently, you are. It looks like about 40 feet.
All right. Well, seeing as how the moose is not attracted to the moose call, it looks angered. I'm assuming. I'm going to step in
It
front
did
of.
give a snort.
Yeah, I'm going to step in front of Finnur and raise my shield, and that'll be what I do for now.
All right. So you stay where you are and raise your shield.
I'm gonna take one, like a step in front of Finnur. So I'm in front. I'm between the moose and Finnur.
Oh, okay. You want us to move you so that?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
And I don't know if you can get macros into your hotkey bar. You don't have to do it right now, but in the upper right corner, there's something called compendium packs. That's where all of the packs of data are, and you can type in raise shields there, and it's a thing. It's a hotkey that you can just use to toggle your shield while your token is selected. But meanwhile, the moose gears up and is ready to charge. Whoops, it's not dead. How did that happen? Oh.
Oh, that was easy.
It
Yay.
charges forward towards well, I'm gonna give a hero point because we've gone 2 hours without any hero points. Skritch is being a hero right now. And this moose is charging straight into those sharp brambly bushes. So as it does so, it kind of has a difficult time immediately. It becomes Clumsy 1, which gives it a status penalty on its AC and reflex saves and dexterity checks. And let's see, what's its speed? 30 feet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it's going to do a thundering charge. At Skritch.
It sounds like it might be painful.
Alright, you all see this frightening creature heading towards the little goblin, the little armored goblin. Here we go. Okay. It hits him straight on. Could have been worse, though. And it's going to do... Oh my god, maximum damage, 17. But Skritch is a tough boy. It's got 21 hit points. And do you have a reaction?
Not if it's hitting me. I don't think I can use Retributive Strike unless it's an ally.
You have shield block.
Oh yeah,
But it would also make your shield
Think-
broken.
I'm pretty sure that would break the shield because it's only got 20 hit points, and its breaking threshold would be
Yeah. It is
got
going to use a
the
third action.
5.
And your if you shield block, that shield would not be useful against the second attack. So that's another thing to think about.
Yeah. But if the second attack hits and knocks me down, I can't use a reaction at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shield block. So that'll be 12 damage instead of 17,
Mm-hmm.
and 12 to the shield, so the shield will be broken.
Okay. All right, I will apply it. And here comes... All right, I'm checking my notes. Are you brand new to Pathfinder? Because Pathfinder can be
Yes.
scary. Higher level creatures. Okay, here we go.
My AC should be 18 with my shield down.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm wondering when it would use its antler versus its hoof. Oh, make a fortitude save because this is what it might make you stunned.
Oh, that'll suck.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know how to do a fortitude save on the table.
So click your token, and do you see the buttons that show up at the upper part of the screen? Strikes, actions, inventory. Do you see that? I don't hear you.
Yeah, we see strikes, actions.
Yeah. Hover over saves.
Save.
These are your saving throws, and there's 3 kinds.
Should be fortitude then. So click on saves.
Yeah.
Fortitude. Okay.
Okay.
I think it's on the same page. Not under action, it's with it's alongside action.
Do you see saves and fortitude under that?
We're not seeing saves.
Did you see strikes, actions, inventory?
I see it.
Oh, yep, we found it.
Mm-hmm.
So click on saves and fortitude.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That is a tough moose. That is going to cause you to be stunned 1, which is going to deny reactions after this point, but you didn't have any reactions left. And also tax you in action on your next turn.
All right.
Here comes a hoof.
Roll low, roll low, roll low.
I'm scared. I close my eyes. I'm afraid of the crit sound. Okay, you see that every point of dexterity and armor, it just clangs against his armor, and he's already reeling back from this gigantic creature bearing down on him. Picano runs forward and does his best to stab at it. However, he is just kind of running straight on, and he's going to roll a... Okay, let's see. He hits with its spear, and he is going to do this much damage, 8 damage to it. Okay, and he gives a big cry at as well. Oh, and this also hits. And that had the multiple attack penalty. It had a lower bonus, so that's going to be 6 more damage to the moose. Brahgy.
So first of all, Skritch, I put the raise shield macro in the chat log. You can just drag it down to the little hotbar at the bottom of your screen, so you can just click it whenever you want to. Raise your shield, and so Brahgy's going to see that the moose is.
You can even
be like
it's assigned to a key on the keyboard too, so you can press the number to.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay. Cool.
Brahgy,
I can't do that now. All right.
Right.
So he's gonna see that his footing's a little unsteady in the thorns. So Brahgy's gonna cast. Where is it? Grease, just right in the middle of that moose.
Very good.
And then he's going to pull out his sling, and that's his turn.
Oh, okay. I usually allow people when there's possible danger to have their weapons out. That's usually my policy. Because
Okay.
it
That's
makes sense.
very nice of you. Thank you.
Then I will attempt to toss a rock at the moose.
Ooh.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, but you know what? Before you did that, let's adjudicate the grease spell. It has a reflex save that it has to make. It might fall prone. Ooh, 14! And the ground shakes under its massive weight. And take a hero point. And you also hit it.
Alright, let me roll my damage.
Okay, that's going to be 1 damage, wizard damage.
With blood.
But by being prone, it is now flat-footed to everybody. And also, it has to use an action. A whole action to stand up. Ernest.
All right, well, Ernest is going to take advantage of the fact that it has fallen down and fire off an arrow, possibly 2, but probably only 1 because he's actually really terrible at.
And your knowledge of anatomy, you can see, perhaps you can see something about this moose's underbelly.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, I've got 2 more actions. Okay, I'll go ahead and fire off 1 more arrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna hit.
It's gonna
not
hit. I believe in Ernest.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Oh,
no, that's.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to just move to be a bit further away from the big animal.
Yeah. Also, other creatures give +1 to its AC that are in the way, so that's a good spot to be.
Yeah.
Okay, Brom.
All right. I'm going to start off by having.
Oh,
by
I'm sorry,
doing
Brahgy. I kind of assumed you were going to put it here. It has a 30-foot range, and
Yeah, I just saw that.
Is that where you want it?
That'll,
do you want it somewhere
that'll have
else?
to do. Yeah.
No,
I can't put it farther.
Okay. All right,
Alright,
go ahead,
so I'm gonna-
Brom.
All right, so I'm going to start off by doing command an animal on Kellen
Uh-huh.
or Nelek, and I am going to have Nelek move because Nelek has a movement speed of 40.
Uh-huh.
I have Nelek move there, avoiding both the brambles and the grease.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have Nelek do an attack on the moose, while also hopefully setting up the flank for Finnur.
Can I interject real quick? If you hunt prey first and then command an animal, he will get his precision damage.
So
because
I marked the moose as my prey before we
Oh.
got started.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind.
All right, so
Sylvanas is thinking.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was my range.
He was a ranger in another campaign.
all right, so going to do a strike target hunted prey with the beak on the moose.
Ooh, that's an 8. That would have been cool, though. For people watching, the animal gets the ranger precision damage, hunter's mark bonus, basically, if they can connect. You have
So
2 more
then
actions.
I guess. So I've got. So I guess the next action then will be. Now, because the moose is a large creature, does it still get the AC bonus to ranged attacks if it's prone?
There is no bonus versus range attacks unless it uses the take cover action while prone.
Okay.
So it is purely a bad thing versus ranged attacks to be prone.
Got it. All right, then Brom will let fly. All right, so Brom, first attack, targets onto prey, fires with the. Oh, hang on a sec. Looks like Brom's bow doesn't have arrows in it yet.
Oh, let me fix that. Someone in chat says moose are famously territorial during mating season and will charge anybody within 200 feet that yells. Which I believe, I suppose. Okay, I turned off the auto-destroy feature, and under the Actions tab of your character sheet, I'm going to assign the ammo to the short bow.
Okay,
Should
there
work
we
now.
go. All right, let's go.
Ooh, that's a good blow, right in the precision part that you were aiming at.
Also,
So,
a word of
when you
advice-
click damage, I don't know if there's a toggle when you hover over, in the upper left.
Would that be the damage in the in the ongoing chat box on the right?
That should work for you, but you should also
right.
know. Yeah, that works. Okay, that's 7 damage. So that includes the extra D8 that he got from having hunted it. Brom, in the upper left corner, when you hover over strikes, there's a toggle button to indicate it's your first attack.
Yes, I did see that, and I did mark that.
Yeah. So we can do that each time, or we can just use brain and decide whether to apply the D8 when it comes up. Your choice.
I'm fine with clicking it.
Yeah.
So I guess that Brom will. So yeah, he'll fire with his short bow again.
Mm-hmm. That misses.
That 18.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay, Finnur.
Okay. So for his first roll, for his first action, Finnur will exploit vulnerability on the moose.
All right. So the thaumaturge is looking for esoterica now to counter this boost. I just made up a word. Bull moose. So it's an
that
esoteric lore check. Ooh.
Yeah, so everything, basically.
You learn everything. And you learn the fact that it has no weaknesses and no resistances. You also have a personal antithesis. You were able to find something that counters it. What is the extra damage? 2?
It is, I'm looking for, I think it's 2 plus half my level.
Okay.
Exploit vulnerability.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Personal antithesis. Yeah, 2 plus half my level, so it's plus 3. For my second action, I'm going
Plus
to
2,
move...
right? Is it half your level minimum 1 or no? Not minimum 1.
Yeah, no, it's just half my level, or 2 plus half my level, so it's plus 2.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a 5-foot step for my second action, and even though it's technically already flat-footed, but I want to put myself in a position where it gives the moose another target other than my goblin friend here, and I am going to strike the moose. So we're going to roll.
Ooh, that's a 12. That misses, unfortunately.
It does. Yeah. And
that's your turn. I'll need to use one of my patented bathroom breaks. But I think we forgot about your ring bell reaction that when
I
people
didn't have
charged.
actions yet because I hadn't acted.
Oh, I usually allow
And
it
I
when you're
also-
aware of what you're about to fight.
But I also haven't. It has to be. The trigger is.
Against your exploit vulnerability. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
All right. Yeah, I thought about that. Oh. Oh, and just so everybody knows, if you're unfamiliar with Foundry, if you hover your mouse over your target and press T, it'll target that opponent. And then when you do like strikes or cast spells against them or whatever, it'll automatically apply the roll to their appropriate target DCs and whatnot. So
Andy.
That's
Yeah.
good to know.
yeah, in order to on the screen, it'll show there'll be little red arrows on each of the corners that are pointing towards the target. Just yeah, for your information.
Yeah.
That's a handy tip.
Okay, can we move on to Skritch? Did I miss something?
He was telling us about how to target. in
Oh,
Foundry.
okay. Cool. Skritch, you're up. Oh, and you were stunned, so you have 2 actions, and you lose the
So-
stunned
so-
condition.
Okay, so stunned will go away automatically.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do anything for that. All right. So, feeling a little groggy from the previous attack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to swing my warhammer. So click on where you got the actions. Click on strike.
Okay.
And then warhammer.
You have to draw it first.
It's already out.
Oh. Right, you feel a little clumsy trying to hit this. You hit the ground as it was just a big whiff. It is a little
Whiff.
slower,
Alright.
having hurt itself going through the brambles.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I will go ahead and try again. There should be.
Oh,
How do you
should
do
I-
the second?
Do you want me to tell you a thing or no? A couple of other options. You
Yes.
tell me whether you want to hear. Okay, moving away from it will make it force it to move toward you to hit you. You also have a couple of focus spells. Fire Ray. Well, actually, that requires 2 actions. But Lay on Hands only costs 1 action, and it would heal the target and also give them an AC bonus of 2 for a round. Those are a couple of other things that jump out at me.
That is actually a good idea. How do I trigger Lay on Hands?
Okay, using Foundry, those buttons on the top, if you hover over spells, and
So
then-
Lay on-
yeah,
Well, no. I have to target myself for that first, right? I don't want to be targeted on the moose for that.
the targeting is necessary for attacks in Foundry, not really this.
So if I have the moose targeted and I click Lay on Hands, it's not going to give the moose 6 hit points.
Correct.
Okay.
It won't.
All right. So Lay on Hands and then.
Okay, and then in chat, bring up the chat window. By the way, the encounter tracker can be a pop out. By the way, if you right click the thing, but go to the main chat window, and you'll see that Lay on Hands is there. Tell me when you get there.
Okay. Do you see where I'm using the chat window?
Yes.
Okay. We're there.
Okay, you'll see a button for healing. That's, you know what? We already know it's going to be 6 hit points, but click it anyway. Okay, good. Also, it did not heal the moose. That was just an animation.
Good.
Another thing, click your token, click Skritch's token, and then you see how in chat there is this, back where the spell Lay on Hands was, there's a little red rectangle saying spell effect Lay on Hands. You see that
In chat.
in chat?
Yes.
Yes.
You can click and drag that onto your token, and that will give you the effect. And that includes a +2 status bonus to armor class. Okay, there you go. So your AC is now 20.
All right, cool. So it's
All right.
if I raise the shield.
Nice effect.
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah, look at
didn't
that
do-
animation. Cool.
But
All right, the
Robin-
moose stands up.
no.
Towers over you and towers over the one that hit it, which was, well, Picano is one of them. Antler.
They did.
And that critically hits Picano and tosses him aside like so much. He falls to the ground. He
ahead
doesn't
now.
have a word about this. He just knocks him out.
Brahgy chuckles.
Is that characters laughing? I do want to know. He isn't going to hear it because he's too unconscious.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and activate retributive strength on that.
Okay, and then the next thing that happens is,
Am I muted? Hold up.
sorry.
No, we can hear you. What'd you say?
I'm activating retributive strike.
Oh,
then
there you
attack.
go. There you
Yes.
go. All right. Skritch gets to, as a reaction, block 3 of that damage against Picano, but also gets his own strike. Go ahead.
Yep. So that's just gonna be just doing a strike.
Yes.
I'm glad that instant death didn't apply to that.
Metagame knowledge comes into effect here.
Well,
He
you now know he has at least 16 hit points because that would have been death.
I don't know.
Ah, that 19 hits the moose. Clumsy moose. Roll damage.
Damage. I thought it did automatically. Is there a in chat? Does it do it in chat for damage?
Yeah, there's a damage button. That's one way to roll damage. Yeah. Okay, that is 8 damage, and this moose is probably gonna go after you now. Yep, it is. Here comes a hoof. This
Also,
person
my
thinks he's
sister
a hero.
pointed out-
17, and that misses.
Yes. My sister also pointed out that my hit points currently show 4.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm supposed to have more than that.
You should be at 10.
Wasn't he hit for 17 damage by the moose?
But
Oh,
I
you're
used-
right. It was shield blocked, right?
Yeah.
But that would have the shield would
That
have
would've-
lowered that by 5, so he should
That
be
would've
at
been
9 hit
9.
points.
And
And
then I
then-
did lay on hands for 6.
So
Oh,
that should be at 15.
oh wow, sisters, no stuff. Awesome. Yes. Okay, that's the moose's turn. Picano goes right before the moose at initiative. Brahgy.
All right, I am 30 feet away, so I'm gonna cast telekinetic projectile.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say it's a rock.
Yeah. Okay, that. Ooh, that was a cool
I am
animation.
going to spin that hero point you so graciously gave me.
All right, you knowing that this is an important moment for you in the tribe,
Right.
you muster your effort and hit it directly in the head for 6 damage. Okay, one
And
more
then-
action.
With my last action, I'm going to spend a focus point and cast Force Bolt.
Ooh, okay, 2 more damage using your focus spell.
And that's my turn.
Okay, he's an evoker. Okay, Ernest.
Ernest is going to start by using his mastermind abilities to attempt to recall knowledge about the new moose to make it flat-footed to him.
Okay, I'm gonna do a secret nature check. No success this time, unfortunately. It is moving too fast for you to find a weak spot to target.
Okay. So, instead of that, then, well, yeah, I'm going to still fire off bow. Because
Yeah.
it looks like it's extremely hurt, so I'm going to see if...
Yeah, and I'm guessing Ernest is not for up front fighting. Okay.
That's a nat 1.
All right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to start moving towards Picano because I have healing abilities that might be able to assist him.
Excellent.
That's my turn.
Brom.
All right, I'm going to start off with command an animal, and I'm going to have Nelek do a start off with the beak attack on the moose.
Nelek, yeah. I have the wrong name on it again. Okay. All right, it pecks the moose.
All right. And this
Going for
is,
the entrails.
Right, that should have all the modifiers in there. There we go.
That is a devastating blow by the bird. You all look as the bird rips out its heart. Or one of its main organs. Not its heart. Like its entrails, let's say. As the moose just kind of, with a final thrashing, lies still. And I don't know, was anyone else besides Ernest able to try to heal Picano?
I have healing, like medicine skill and a healer's kit, but I believe Ernest has a better modifier.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yours is +6, mine is... Wait, yours is...
Yeah, mine would be +6.
+6.
Because I'm trained and have a +3 wisdom.
And mine is only +4 because I am less wise.
Okay. Well.
Okay. All right. Meanwhile, he is. It looks like he's getting closer to death.
Okay. Well, I see no reason not to just use a battle medicine.
Mm-hmm.
So I will do that. Hold on. I thought that would automatically do the roll. I guess it does not.
I can get you a macro if you want.
Well, let's see if I bring up.
On the compendium, you can type in a whole bunch of phrases, and there's a macro for it.
Okay. Well, for now, I'll just do the roll, and it's going to be the DC 15 because I'm only trained.
Okay. Ah,
That's enough.
There you go.
succeed.
I put the macro in chat for you if you want it.
Oh, sweet. Thanks.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. So then, in that case, let me.
You get to heal 2d8 to him.
All right. Wait. Sorry, this isn't the roll for it. It's just this is now okay, then because that's not a failure. I would have thought it would have done the healing round. Okay, I'm just gonna in the chat 1 second. There.
Excellent. 12
Yes, 12.
hit points. He comes to after you revive him.
Once Brahgy sees that he's stabilized, he's gonna look over to Brom behind him and say, "This is gonna make a really good story."
Brom said, "Just wait till he hears about this one. Good girl, Nelly."
Weep. Hold on. Okay. Oh my god. Oh no. Sorry, Foundry's acting up, and people on stream can see that I pressed a single button that activated like 20,000 soundscapes at once. Sorry. But Weepa walks over and says, "Well done. She's very proud of you." And says that that was relatively clean. She asks Picano if he is all right, and he looks up and sees that Ernest, of all people, just healed his wounds. And he says, "I'm all right! You don't need to help me!"
You,
And
you were
Weepa
close.
says-
You were close to death. I assure you, you needed help.
It was amazing. You flew. You went like you were standing over there, and now you're over there. It's
Wait,
like
Brom is
teleported
roaring
you.
with
you're
laughter,
describing him
looking at
being
the
hit
tree.
and struck down, right?
It was amazing. I didn't know people could
Weepa's waving her
fly.
hand out, saying, "No, no, no." She says, "You also were very courageous, Pecano, and we all did our part." And Pecano
You
says,
courageously flew over there.
Pecano is kind of storming off now. He's picking up his spear and he's kind of walking away, and you kind of can't see him. He's just like stomping off.
He may have flown, but he did make the first hit.
He did. He was very brave.
Uh,
And now he's bravely storming off because we hurt his feelings.
all right. Weepa says she's going to. She kind of gives you all a nod, and she kind of walks off and follows him. What do the rest of you think? Your grease spell is now expiring, and you now have a moose, and it's lying still dead.
Does anyone know how to cut it up for easier travel, or maybe someone's strong enough to
That
just
would
lug it
be
along?
my job.
Brom has some knowledge. This would be a survival thing. And you see Weepa's not catching up with Pecano being pregnant. And so she gives up. She's now walking back to the party. She says, "Yes, Brom is quite good at this, and so am I." She's commenting to Skritch and saying that was some splendid and courageous. She's going to tell Grandfather Awa what happened. Grandfather Awa, Weepa are both in the Falcon House, by the way, which Brom is in as
Brom,
well.
yeah.
And
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, but it's all thanks to Sister Cinder and Saren Ray.
Brahgy's gonna give Skritch the stink eye whenever he calls Sister Cinder Sarenrae.
Okay, so Brom and Weepa is directing people to explaining what Brom is doing to the corpse. She also explains to Ernest. You notice, Ernest, that she talks about using every part of the animal, and that none of it should go to waste. They seem to have some knowledge about that you didn't have before about using every single part for their survival.
As Brom is dressing or attempting to dress the meat, Finnur is going to slice off one of its ears and puts it in a pouch for to add to his esoterica. And so he cuts off the ear, and he's like, he pulls it up to like the ear as he cuts it off. He's like, "Thank you," and he puts it into the pouch.
Yes, Weepa looks at you, Finnur, and says, "All of your talents that you've been." She didn't. It seems like you get along with this group. Would you say so, Finnur?
Well, I do my best to get along with everybody, but it seems that not everybody wants to get along with me, and I do my best.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be good. I try to do good, and I try to make friends, and then the rest is up to everybody else. I sometimes I don't see what I do wrong. I try, and but I like these people. I like most people. I like these people. I even like Pecano, even though he's very mean to me. But I don't think he does. Well, maybe he does it on purpose. I don't know.
You would do well in a scouting group, because you will all rely upon each other, just as Grandfather AOS said. It will give you a purpose. People won't just... You'll get to work together with people. That should be good for you.
And
I just
maybe,
need to work on your moose call.
well, yes, that didn't go over very well. But, well, I mean, he did
Oh, yeah.
do what I wanted him to do, so I mean, it kind of worked. But, yeah, so maybe if I become useful, more people will like me. It's a good idea. I think I will become useful. Being useful, I think, will be, useful. And with that, he sort of, like...
She's already
stares off
walked away. She's talking to the other people as you're talking to yourself. And she tells Brahgy that she's never, you are gifted. You are one of those who can manipulate the things of the earth, make things different than what they are.
I'm not very good at it.
Perhaps you should have some more lessons with Nocta, the healer. Anyway, she walks on. But it's going to take several hours of work to cut up the moose and package it, put it in little packages for the tribe.
Brom, of course, is gathering up all of the bits that the tribe isn't going to be eating, like the intestines, and said, "All right, girl, you got to kill. You get first bite."
To Nelek?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He get...
Yeah. Is Nelek well trained?
I of course,
just kind
not
of
talking to Weepa with that.
I was multitasking. So yeah, I assume Nelek is well trained. Was waiting for. Is it a she or he?
It's a she. Brom would likes when Nelek lays eggs. It's another extra snack for him.
Okay. This is a very crisp and warm day, and after several hours here on the plain, Picano never did return. You can take back the different moose parts to the tribe.
Ernest tried to help as much as he could, but he kept having to stand off to the side, and you could tell that he's not used to being this close to a corpse that's being butchered.
His food is more, is farther away from the source of the food, per se.
Typically, yes.
Yes.
He had been living off of trail rations before he
to...
arrived at him. So...
Weepa encourages you to look at it, not stray too far, because this is the natural cycle of things. Everything has its end.
Again, he's putting in his best effort. It's just, he's not used to it.
She's very patient.
Brahgy's gonna stand next to Ernest while the butcherings happen, and each time Brom gets to a new part, Brahgy's gonna point at the part and say the name in what's the language? It's not Kaled, it's
Hallet.
And kind of look at Brom for what he would call that part.
Mm-hmm. Brom is what I say.
Not Brom,
is he
Ernest.
I know, but is Brom being kind of scarily efficient, just going from one part to the next?
Yeah, he knows that that day is getting on, and that that they're going to be expecting them. It's the day of the feast, so he's not being incredibly talkative right now. He's just he's doing what he needs to do as efficiently as he can.
Weepa kind of sits down. She's kind of now directing people. She kind of can't really standing that long. So things take a little longer than it normally would.
Well, during this time, I think Finnur would use this as an opportunity to try to tend to Skritch's wounds He doesn't have battle medicine, but he does have he does have medicine and a healer's kit to do first aid.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And someone brings up a good point that it probably should, more people in the following should probably help in bringing the moose back. It's a big creature. That's what Weepa encourages, actually. So.
Skritch has been spending a little bit of time in prayer.
How
to,
much
Sister
weight?
Cinder.
How much weight is a bulk?
It's not.
Purposely left
It's abstract, so you
Yeah.
know,
So,
a
how
light
much
10-foot
bulk is a
pole would be
moose?
more bulk because it's big, you know.
Uh,
But this is a moose. It's gonna take, you know, a small army. Yeah.
So,
Well,
so
you know what
maybe-
though? There actually are already people headed over.
So-
Coming.
Okay, because what I was going to suggest is that Nelek is done with her snack, and I know that allies can actually ride animal companions who have the mount ability, which she does. So I was going to suggest that if someone wanted to go over and ride her back to camp and send word that we need help, that was just a suggestion, but it sounds like people are already on their way.
Yeah. Arriving is Weepa's twin sister, Panuaku. She's a fiery one. A number of people have learned to respect her. She kind of intimidates people, and she's very she's a team player, but she also kind of gets the best out of people through a kind of mixture of strong personality and intimidation and positive reinforcement. But she comes with Picano, and she says, I see. She congratulates you all, and she heard that you all played that you all finished the animal after Picano took a first swing at it.
Yes.
Well, he didn't take the first swing at it, but he got the first hit.
Credit where credit's due.
Yes, and Picano kind of is avoiding eye contact with people, and is kind of giving directions to people to take up different parts that Brom has already carved up. Okay, chat's helping us. A bull moose weighs in at 1,400 pounds. It could be carried comfortably by more than a dozen people, and I wanted to say that about a dozen people arrived. I know this stuff. I got it. Yeah. So people are singing songs, giving thanks to Sister Cinder and also Gosray at this time. People
Thank you,
are.
Mr. Oberholzer, for that information.
It's a mixture of thanks, praise, singing. It's a jovial time, you see, Ernest, for the people in the following. And everyone kind of is helping each other, volunteering to take different parts. And, and Picano's kind of retelling the story too, talking about his charge forward and stabbing it in the chest. Okay, are prepared to head back?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
So back at the gathering, it's not nighttime; it's daytime, and people are already starting to start fires, and cutting up the moose. People who are assigned to cooking are cutting up the moose into smaller chunks to make stew, and already starting to set aside meats for the bigger feast. They're setting aside parts of it and doing some things to preserve it for the big feast that's coming in a few days. Some had already collected spring herbs, some smaller game, and some vegetables, and everyone's chattering excitedly about the upcoming Green Moon ceremony. Meanwhile, Grandfather Aowa and Letsua approach you all, and they hope that you can help with some more things. So we have Letsua, not Bacano. It's not going to Bacano. Hold on. Grandfather Awa goes up to Ernest and asks if how that went and what he did during the hunt.
Well, unfortunately, of course, my expertise is I shot a few arrows, didn't make any hits though. It's not really my specialty, but I was able to I think assist somewhat. I certainly after Picano went down, I was quick to help him up, to help him get back up, make sure that he didn't die on us. The boost got quite a big hit on him.
When you say Picano, you helped him get up. He his eyebrows rise. And how did Picano act?
Well, he didn't seem the most appreciative, but embarrassed, I think, would be a good word to use. Strong-willed, he seems to be.
He is. He's a brave one, but not always makes the right decisions, he says. But I'm glad you did what you could.
Yes.
So he says that.
Unfortunately, I feel that was the biggest contribution I was able to make was helping with that. I, again, not extremely skilled hunter, as it were.
Those of you who have been part of the following know that Letsua is one of the Mammoth Lords who leads the Otter House. He's known as someone who is to be highly skilled and passionate, but his impatience sometimes gets on the nerves and tests the other Mammoth Lords, but they both stand before you. Grandfather Aowa says, "Young ones, Weepa says good things about your scout training. Said you might make good Mammoth Lords someday. Let us hope so." He smiles broadly, and his weathered face crinkles like parched earth. "The green moon rises 3 nights from tonight, and its light will mark you as true broken tusks. But there are still many things that must be done if we're to be ready for the ceremony." 3 things exactly. This is Letsua. He's even taller than Aowa. First, the ritual site at Rockloom must be scouted, cleared, and secured before the Green Moon ceremony. Second, we need you to carry fragile ceremonial vessels and fill them with water from the Gornok River. And third, there are some tappers nearby, which we seek to add to our herd, and capturing them would go a long way toward your training. Tappers are large herbivores that could be useful to the following, if they could join the following.
Sorry, could you repeat those for me real quick?
Sure, and this is a good time to make a player's journal entry.
Yeah, I'm trying to take notes.
Yeah. I'm just going to generically call it player notes for now, and make it owned by everybody. And one person should volunteer to be. I think multiple people can change it at once, but it's probably cleaner if one person is the main person. Do you all see it under journal entries or journals?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. First was to scout the area where the ceremony is going to take place. Second was to get water from the Gornok River. And third was to try to add some tappers, Tapir, or tapers to the herd. That there have been signs of them nearby. I'm going to... Oh, they're real-life creatures. Let me see how it's pronounced.
Yeah, tapirs.
Tapers.
Tapir.
Tapir. I thought it was a weird Pathfinder word.
Nope, they're real.
I believe they're in South America.
Taper.
Taper. Chat. The stream heard that. Taper. All right.
So when grandfather
Mm-hmm.
when Grandfather Arwa said that they might be useful to the following, Skritch is going to ask, useful, like, as food, I suppose?
Letsua answers and says, the tapers will alert our mammoths to potential predators at watering holes. Whenever the following finds water, the tapers will rush ahead, but the mammoths will lumber toward it slowly. So if anything in the water attacks the tapers, then we can redirect the mammoths before they panic, or worse.
Oh.
Tapers are plentiful, he says. Mammoths are not. Broken tusks are not. This is to ensure the survival of our following. And we are grateful to the tapers for their sacrifice.
Well, plus they have cute little noses. Their noses are long, not like the mammoths. They're shorter than the mammoths, but they're yes.
And he looks at you, and yet they are cute. He kind of doesn't look at you as he says that. He's a little and then he nods. Yes, they are cute.
Okay. So, tapirs, the water. You said it ceremonial vessels. I believe it's.
No, just water for the feast.
It's just water for the feast. Okay.
And the cooking.
Yes, yeah, it's indeed. And then the site that you were talking about. What exactly is that?
That's Rockloom. We don't
Rockloom,
camp near
yes.
them. We're several miles out. You're new to the following, I see. Yes, we're several miles out from Rockloom out of respect for it. And as is usually the task of our scouts, we usually send someone out ahead to make sure there's not something dangerous that would endanger the entire following. Some folks cannot, she kind of gives a glance to Weepa, some folks cannot run if we were to face danger. So it is what we always do in general, but we're going to be spending a night at the location. It's a set of standing stones that are sacred to our tribe. Each of them representing an animal. We are divided into 4 houses. Each house is devoted to and he lists the animals. And the standing stones resemble them. And we stand there to commemorate the spring.
Wonderful.
It's been venerated by our people for many generations, since before the breaking of tusks. Since before we were who we are.
Wonderful.
It's
Do you
good
take
fun,
notes?
you'll
I'm
like it.
curious. Are you always writing? Or no?
Yeah. He does kind of know. In addition, he actually also. That's one of the things he probably has already sketched. He has probably already sketched a mammoth into his book. And it's he doesn't take one thing you would notice is that if you see any of his sketches, he doesn't take artistic liberties. He sketches what he sees. But he does it very well. So he's not an artist, he's just a sketcher.
Just so you're aware, you have been coming in and out on your mic.
Hold on.
Yeah. We got the gist of what you were saying, but there was a couple times where...
It's like 90%.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. It's the way that the mic's plugged in and stuff. I'll probably fix it before the next time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too bad.
Okay.
Okay.
So, it's already late in the afternoon here, and each of these tasks, Grandfather Aowa is already is now sitting down nearby. But Letsua says each of these things should take you a day to do. So it's up. You should. Weepa's kind of shaking her head at him right now from a distance as she's kind of experiencing some contractions. Panuaka can help you answer some of your questions, but you should do these on your own and decide what you'd like to do tomorrow.
Well, I personally would certainly like to see these standing stones. But at the same time, I understand that other things might be of higher importance. Perhaps the water would be of great importance to the tribe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we should get the water first.
I agree.
It involves the
Water
most
sounds
heavy
like the-
lifting, Brahgy, so maybe you want to get it over with.
It'll be heavy lifting only so far as we put the water onto Nellie's back. She'll carry it back with us.
Oh yeah, you guys can. I would imagine by now the following has improvised some ways to strap things onto her. They're not simply held. Okay.
So yeah, water is probably the first task.
As you all can see, Brom is a shoe-in for the scouts. He's gonna make the cut. All right. Okay, so let's prepare to fetch that water.
Before we leave, Brahgy is gonna refocus though.
Oh, this is the next day, right?
Is it the next day?
Like we were gonna head out in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in Panawaku says that you can meet up with her, and she will tell you what to do in the morning. So it's going to be another night, but there's already some people have made some meals involving the mammoth. So there's some delicious eats tonight. And the sun rises on a new day.
I just want to do like one quick thing though.
Sure.
During that meal, Brom goes over to Picano with a piece of the cooked moose meat, hands it to him, and says, "You did good today, Picano. You did good."
All right, he says. He kind of looks. He already had eaten. He says he doesn't need any more, and he says, yes. That's all he says. He's a little taken aback, but he brings up that he doesn't think he's going to rise up to be much in this following. He was supposed to be... He thought he'd be a mammoth lord since he's descended from Grandfather Aowa. But it looks like he's going to become nothing.
To which Brom says to that, "Everyone has their part to play in this following, my friend. You come from the absolute. You come from the best of us. Certainly, the only one of the mammoth lords that I tolerate. I know that with time, you'll certainly amount to something significant in this following. You certainly displayed courage today, and there's a lot to be said for that."
All right. He avoids eye contact. He seems to be lost in thought. And he says, Brom? Sure? He's still kind of distant.
Right. Good talk, Picano. Good night.
He's been on his own tonight. He's not hanging out with the lady followers like the night before. And that's my cat Megan.
Ernest is actually going to start up a conversation with Letsua. And
Okay.
is going to say you are a mammoth lord, yes?
I am.
Yes, and I can't help but know you're an elf, yes?
Ah. I am?
Well, so are you originally from out here, or it was my understanding that the majority of mammoth lords and the majority of people out here were humans of Kelid ancestry, but how long have you been out here, or has this been your entire life? Have you been out in the realm?
It's been about 40 years, he says. He comes from Keonan. And he says,
yes, Keonan.
Say it again?
Yes, Keonan, of course,
Yeah.
the main homeland of the elves, when they first came to Galarian from far away.
I met Argakoa when she was a young woman. And we fell in love, which was of great offense to her family. She had a proud family she was a daughter of merchants, Ulfin merchants, hailing from Hillerin. And it was a scandal, our affair. And her parents disowned her, did not want her to have any part in their wealth, he says, with some disgust as he says that word. So we decided to run away. And we knew that the Mammoth Lords, the realm of the Mammoth Lords, that there were followings. We want to have a more meaningful life. And we were happy to meet Grandfather Aoel. He was not a grandfather yet. And he was the person who was, you can say, pretty much built this following. He's a bit modest about it, but you see, there's not just Kelids among us. People of different tribes, nations arrive here. The Broken Tusks have been very welcoming to anyone who's willing to join and follow our ways. I owe much to Grandfather Aowa.
Indeed, I must say that I have been quite surprised by it's certainly different from what I read about in books and what I learned about in my classes growing up.
And you are unique, I see. You're wearing those lenses. He seems proud to know the word lenses. And he says, Grandfather Awa saw something in you.
I don't have any idea what that might have been. I am intelligent. I will give myself that much. But as far as other skills, they are minimal.
I don't know, completely understand him, but I know that he thinks of the whole, and he probably thinks that you contribute much, something that's needed. It's not about how you think of yourself, but how you fit into a bigger picture. Perhaps that's what he meant. Perhaps that's what he sees.
Well, I certainly hope I do not disappoint.
Well, he saw that you were earnest, I'm sure, probably, and would do your best. That's all that you need. That's all you can do.
It is my name,
Yes.
Ernest.
And Nocta the healer is also, she gives her teachings about medicine and healing magics to those who, and has her morning meditations. You know what? I'm only now noticing, as the GM, a number of these characters in the background art. I'm sure some of you caught on already.
Yeah.
Here's Letsua. Okay. Anyone else that anyone wants to speak with?
Excuse me. Finnur would like actually to speak with Skritch. He goes over and he sort of like, not really sneaks up, but he's sort of like trying to be innocuous and in his own manner, and goes to Skritch. I noticed what you did when the moose was coming. You stood down the moose so that it wouldn't get to me. And I noticed that, and I wanted to thank you for it, because that moose was very big, but then I'm not very, well, I'm tall, but I'm not very big. But you are small, and it is big, but you are very big in spirit. Yes, so I guess what I'm trying to say is thank you. I appreciate what you did. You stood down that moose so that it wouldn't get to me, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You stood next to me at the end, so it all worked out. Sister Cinder shines her light upon all of us in their own way.
Yes, he does. Yes, she does. As he sort of thumbs his religious symbol of Sarenrae. Yes, and I'm very thankful for her and sending you to us, and thank you. Yes. What?
Well, I'm always thankful for whenever she sends.
I'm talking here. Shh. As he's looking off into the distance where there happens to be nobody, speaking to somebody who's not quite there. Anyways, yes. Thank you very much, and I do appreciate that, and I hope to return the favor someday. As he slowly walks off and kind of looking at something off in the distance that you can't really see.
Nocta the healer approaches you, Finnur, and says, this is the most talkative I've seen you.
Well...
And she just asks you how the day went.
Well, I don't think that I contributed very much. But I did my best. And I hope people see that. But I think I could have done better.
Mm-hmm.
And I will try to do better. No, shh. Talking, shh.
All right, remember to see me in the morning for our meditations.
Yes. Yes. I will see you. Shh. I'm talking. Yes.
Okay. So, as the night falls, another night in the realm. You guys are not traveling at this time. You're just... The following is just camping out some distance away from Rockloom. The sun rises again, and after the morning hours, the sunrise ceremony with Nocta, Pakuanu is there to gather the people together, and Pakano is here as well. Pakano has also been recruited to help gather the water. And someone was right, I was wrong. There are ceremonial vessels to be filled with water. They are tightly woven, brightly colored baskets of different shapes. Leather straps are attached to them so that they can be carried on your back or put onto a bird, a terror bird. An empty basket is one bulk. A couple of them need to be carried by characters. A full basket is 6 bulk. And Panuaku tells you about Gornok River and what direction to go. It's about an hour's walk from the encampment. Okay. So that's simple enough, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you head out, and as you approach the river, and everybody make a perception check. And if you're wondering where perception is, when you click your token, it's under attributes. Under the... Okay. So...
I probably have one of the highest perception modifiers, but a 2 on the die is a 2 on the die.
Nah, you're too busy writing in your notebook.
Yes.
Okay. If you had a 17 or higher, you see in the distance a what looks like a noticeable shaft of wood, maybe a spear, sticking out of the ground right next to the river, and you see Picano picking up his pace. He's now like kind of jogging towards it. Who objects to my right to the spear? He yells out with a grin.
Where did the spear come from? I haven't seen anyone else out here.
Is anyone challenging him for the spear? He's just gonna take it. All right. He walks.
I do not challenge you for the spear, but
none of you want to have a good match of strength with me.
All right, fine.
All right. He takes. He sees the spear, which has a little banner, kind of. If the wind were blowing, it would be flying past it. But it looks like a picture of an animal, maybe a mammoth. And behind it is a flame. But he kind of gets in a wrestling stance, and he's ready to wrestle you, Brom. He hasn't. This is, since your conversation with him, he hasn't been. Well, that was only last night. This is basically your first real interaction since. But, take me on, he says.
All right.
Okay. Make an athletics check.
Here we go.
All right. He's kind of letting you approach him. So feel free to describe what you do. All right, 17. You are overpowering him at the beginning of this challenge. You now have the initiative, and he's kind of... you could throw him down to the ground. Or do something else similar.
Right. So what Brom is going to do here is he's going to get low, get into a low center of gravity stance, and then he lunges for Picano's legs and tries to wrap him up at the knees and take him down.
Mm-hmm. Nelek is nearby, very wary, making sure that he's kind of doesn't know how to react here. But go ahead and make an athletics check. That sounds like a trip check. Oh, that is a critical success, and you have him pinned to the ground, and the grin has left his face. He is now, with all of his might, trying to throw you off. Try to stop him. Make another athletics check.
All right.
Okay. He is saying, "Stop! Stop it! Stop it!" He's sounding kind of upset now. What do you do?
Oh, sorry. There, someone's gunning a motorcycle engine outside.
Oh, okay. He's kind of yelling. He's struggling. Actually, you know what? He's not saying. I'm sorry. He's just fighting back with all of his might now. He's just trying to get out of your grip. And
you had enough, Picano?
He's trying to push you back. He's gonna roll with his own bonus. He's pretty strong. He's gonna try to throw you off. And he indeed throws you back and forces you to roll over several feet away. And he kind of gets up. He is quite strong. And, you can see why the ladies like him. He has a big form and well-proportioned. And he's, like, heaving. But he looks... It comes from a place of, like, he looks like angry. You see some of his expression earlier of kind of feeling humiliated. And he kind of stalks toward you. What do you do now?
All right. Obviously, of course, I'm going to try to regain the initiative by just... If he's coming at me slow, I'll come directly at him fast with a shoulder charge.
Okay.
Just lean down and try and catch him right in the gut.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Is that another athletics?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and you cause him to fall backward, and he is he's trying to get his legs under him to try to cast you off, but he's now failing. You basically got him pinned. He can't get out of it, and he says, "Take the spear. Take the spear." And he's stopped. He stopped resisting.
To which Brom just gives a toothy grin and says, "Right, well, that was fun, wasn't it?"
he just kind of
and he reaches a hand out to Picano to help him up.
All right, he kind of waves off your hand and pushes himself up onto his feet.
All right, so Brom walks over and picks up the spear. Then.
Okay, you've seen this kind of
During the match, off on the side, you can see Skritch kind of shadowing what Brom is doing, like kind of like what a fanboy would be doing.
Brom, I have to say, Brom is the man. He's like really got it together. There's a this looks like a very, very fine spear, fire treated, particular kind of wood called ash wood that is particularly good for a weapon, and has a serrated steel broadhead. The banner is made of hide, deer hide, and it's tangled around the shaft near the spearhead. It is a black silhouette of a woolly mammoth, and with a red flame backdrop to it. But also there's a charred human hand that hangs from a leather strap tied to the spear's shaft, and shattered wrist bones actually tumble from the base of the hand like pebbles from an open sack as you lift it up. And Picano says, "What's that?" And he kind of holds his hand out and wants to take a closer look.
All right. All right, I've got a pretty good medicine modifier at +5. If I'd be able to examine the bones a little bit more closely to see what it is we're dealing with.
Okay. The hand?
I thought it was a skeletal hand.
Oh no! It was a charred hand of a human.
Okay.
And some like wrist bones fell out of the.
Oh, it fell out of the hand stump. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to look at it, see if I can deduce anything.
Okay. Yeah, you see that it's this wasn't but from the wielder. It was attached to the spear.
This is like a trophy.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's got like is there like a spike going through the hand through the spear shaft, or something like that?
It's it dangles from the shaft. There's like a strip of leather that
okay.
attaches it to the shaft.
Got it.
Picano, he has 2 different colored eyes, by the way. One's red and one's yellow. And he kind of looks at it and he says, "We could learn a lot from whoever did this." He looks really interested in the spear.
What makes you say that?
They clearly know a lot about warfare.
I'm sorry, I've only been here a couple days, but there's been no indication that this following is at war with anybody.
Exactly. This is not a broken tusk spear.
No. It is not.
What following the spear belonged with?
He's part of the broken tusks.
No. The spear. What does he know? What following the spear came
he doesn't
from?
know. He doesn't know what this
Spear belonged.
symbol, who it belongs to.
Can Brahgy do a genealogy check on the banner
Brahgy.
lore?
Okay. Yeah. And I'm gonna do a secret recall knowledge. Well, you think that it could be the Navarin Sun following.
Why, I think this is from the Navarin Sun. Looks like their kind of thing.
You remember them being but before the Broken Tusk tribe split off from another tribe. The Navarin Sun had been allied with that larger tribe and had some martial prowess.
How old does the spear look?
It looks like... Wait, who said that?
That
Jim?
would be me, Brom.
Okay. Examining it. You see that it has the hand, given the fact that the bones fell out, you think that it's a matter of weeks when that hand was attached to the handle. That someone was that they had killed someone in war. You don't know the reason. You obviously don't know the reason, but you break it down to the last few weeks. But how long the spear has been here, you don't have enough information.
Well, with any luck, whoever owned this spear has moved on. We don't have to deal with them. I certainly am glad that whichever following made this spear, I'm certainly glad I didn't. Sorry, I noticed that my mic was going out again. Yes, whichever following made this spear, I'm certainly glad I didn't run into them first.
Hey, Brahgy, is the spear magical at all?
Can I tell?
You have detect magic prepared.
I do.
It is magical.
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty magic.
You can spend
Here, let me
10
take-
minutes to try to identify magic.
No, just or you could just give me 1 minute and I can probably figure it out.
Oh. The professor. Okay. You believe it is a +1 spear, and that this rune, you know about magical runes and how they work, and that they can be transferred to other weapons as well with the day of work. So in addition to being a finely crafted, it must have been some kind of elite warrior who had it.
Yes, it is a magical spear, definitely. Plus, it allows you to strike truer with it. But it is a magical rune and could be put on a different weapon if desired.
I have to wonder what happened to the person who owned it previously. It doesn't seem like they would want to just leave it lying around in a river.
I think the charred fist on the spear.
Well, it
Oh, wait,
appears that
no.
that was put on by whoever owned the spear as kind of a trophy.
Right, yeah. I forgot about the strap part.
You see that the water is a bit murky in the river. Floating along its surface are bits of ash, as if there had been a large fire upriver. Today's cloudier than yesterday.
We look upriver, do we see smoke?
It's cloudy, the sky, and there are rolling hills up ahead, and the river twists around one of them, so you can't tell.
Do we know which direction the ceremony grounds are?
They're in a different direction.
Do we want to try to investigate where this ash is coming from? After all, this water is used by the following.
I'm sorry, what is used by the following?
The water is used by the following. Would it be beneficial for us to figure out where this ash is coming from?
Picano says, well, we have a job, though. We have to get the water back. You can go investigate it, but we're supposed to get water.
Are we going to be able to use the water with ash in it?
Oh, I'm sure that there are ways we could filter it out, but it's worrisome that there's potential fire somewhere in the area.
Can I ask the party, by the way, what your usual exploration activities are as your default? As you're
Skritch
exploring in the
rage.
wilderness?
Skritch is going to always be raised shield
Okay,
unless he
defend.
says otherwise.
Yep.
Brom will be scouting.
Mm-hmm.
Ernest is investigating always, and also has trap finder. If that is going to matter ever, I don't know.
Yeah. He's got a lot of skills. I think it was part of your RP, wasn't it? A lot of skills that may or may not work in the wilderness.
Exactly. I think that the ones that are most likely to be helpful are probably astronomy and probably geography as well.
Yeah. Yeah, he has archaeology lore, anthropology, academia lore. He has 16 skills, by the way.
Wow.
Nice.
And Brahgy is
Detect magic.
detect magic, okay.
That is a very good question of what Finnur would actually do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Figure something out. Because nothing's jumping out at me at the moment. So, activity. Exploration.
Let's see. Oh, what was Finnur doing?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
Oh, okay.
What would be appropriate? Game masteries? No. Well,
Meanwhile, Picano is filling baskets.
Brahgy will help him out.
Okay.
well, I mean, yeah. I would be attempting to help with the task of filling the water, but I'm still trying to think of
Sure.
what I was
sure.
my default exploration activity to do.
Good. Okay.
So how many of the ceremonial baskets or whatever did we bring?
4 of them.
And they're one bulk,
Yeah.
but
2 of
six
them can
bulk
be put
going
on
back.
Nelek. 6 when full. Yeah.
Okay, so probably whoever is strongest should be taking those, and it still might make you encumbered. That much
And-
bulk.
Picano wants to return, but did the party want to investigate the ash?
Right.
Well, if we're supposed to scout, I suppose we should scout. What do you think, Brom?
I'll be right back.
All right.
I'll also be right back. I gotta use the little boy's room.
Ernest's vote is going to be to investigate.
Yeah, I think Skritch is probably going to want to investigate also.
I think for
He's cleared on
I think for Brom's consideration that I guess it really depends on what time of day it is.
Oh, it only took us an hour to get to the river, and we started in the morning, so it's probably still in the morning.
Okay. And yeah, I think that that we should be fine investigating. I mean, we have all day to do this.
Yeah.
You could
Brom-
decide to turn back if it's, you don't see anything after a little while.
Yeah.
But it was an hour to get here, so it's about 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
The question-
We got plenty of time to investigate. I say we go take a look and see what's going on with this ash.
The question is, do we take the full ceremonial urns with us, or do we leave them here at the river?
Well, I'm
Well,
not.
Here's my line of thinking on this. Nelly can take 2 of the urns back at a time. We can have Nelly basically serve as the mode of transport for 2 of them. And she can we can have one of you guys work with Nelly. In fact, it can be me if that would work best, and I could get all 4 of those things back with Nelly in just a few hours. I could handle that, while
Couldn't
someone
we-
else who's good at scouting could go ahead and take a look at the at what's causing this ash flow.
We could always just take the empty baskets with us, refill them before come back here, refill them, and then go. So we don't have to carry the full baskets with us.
I'm fine either way.
Bacana would, no matter what, take a full basket back. Now.
Well, we could get the water. We could grab the water, bring it back, and then investigate the fire.
Let's say you do that. It'd be like you'd be slower in returning, and then an hour to get back here. So it'd be about noon.
I mean, that works for me.
I don't know. We've got other things we have to do, though.
Yeah,
We
but we have.
have 3 days.
That's right.
Grandfather Arwa said that each task would take 1 day.
Well,
Well,
obviously,
this task was the water, and
obviously it won't take us an entire day to get these 4 water jugs back to the following.
in pre-industrial times, a workday was not that long. You just they didn't have 8-hour days.
Oh, that is something to think about too.
Yeah.
That if we're that we're only just that we're still in pre-spring now, so the days are still on the shorter side.
It's about
I still
equal.
think that we would have enough time to go investigate, especially if we're not going far.
Okay, we are rounding at the end of our session. Were you guys getting to a consensus or no?
I think that most people were saying that we should take the filled baskets of water back first and then go investigate further upshore.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
upriver. Why did I say upshore? Upriver.
All right, I see 2 nods in addition to that, so that
Mhm.
looks like a majority
Yeah,
to me.
let's get our let's do our task for the day, and then we can have our fun. Work before play, as they say.
Yes, Picano nods. Let's get this thing done. All right. So, we know what will happen. We'll see what happens up the river. And when do we meet next in this group?
Should be 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think
All
2
right.
weeks. Well,
I'm looking at 2 weeks.
Yes.
And then it looks like we meet 3 times in July. Okay, cool. Okay, so as you can see, we started with some, a good deal of RP, which I think is good to have in the first session.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And not everybody had. It was interesting to see some of the relationships developing too, I thought.
Yeah, they'll all develop further as we play.
Mhm.
Any thoughts about? Let's have some on-screen thoughts, and then when I want to get off. Let me just ask now. For those new to Pathfinder, any thoughts on? We only had 1 battle today, but what did you think?
I liked it a lot. Very tactical.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Picano is all I gotta say. Poor guy.
Yeah.
He's trying so hard. You know?
Yeah, gotta sympathize for somebody.
Yeah, he courageously flew through the air and courageously landed unconscious.
I like how Finnur totally did not catch on. So how he was making it worse.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, this
The,
is 18 charisma.
I don't really. I mean, I liked the fact that stun still lets you do stuff. Because like in 5th edition, when you're stunned, you can't do anything. So that was pretty good.
There are higher stun values, right? You can get like stun 2. Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
get stunned 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And how does that translate then? Does that translate to that you lose an action each round that you have the stunned value?
lose them
or
as
do
soon
you
as
need to
possible.
spend one of your 3 actions to essentially remove that stunned value.
No, when you start your turn, you gain. Well, you solve everything that is done that before your turn starts, and then you gain 3 actions and your reaction. The stun condition reduces the amount of actions you gain at your turn. So let's say you're stunned 2, you would only regain 1 action. You gained 3, but 2 of them were to get rid of the stun condition. So you'd have 1 action and then a reaction. But
so
if you're
in
like
fact,
stunned
if you
4,
were stunned 3, the only thing you could do is the only thing you would gain for your next turn is a reaction. Then
I think
You
so.
wouldn't even gain a reaction.
Yeah,
But you would
and-
have no actual 3. You'd have 0 action for that round.
Yeah, and what happens? You gain your actions, your 3 actions, and your reaction at the start of your turn. Meanwhile, while you are stunned, you don't do reactions. So that
that's
also has
right.
value. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I did have a question. My GM, I didn't want to be very strict for this first fight, but when Brom sent his terror bird in, that was a very I usually have animals fight head on, kind of, and if they do anything more tactical, it's to flank. That's the extent, but dancing around the grease, I wasn't sure what to do there and what you want me to do. I thought that was a very what do you think it makes sense for the ranger to be able to give precise instructions, like where to stand and stuff? I usually, the way I run it, it's to, an animal will instinctively flank. An animal that's trained to fight in melee. But that's the extent of it.
I mean, I read that it was just it wasn't so much to dance around the grease. I just saw that the path that Nelek took was the most direct way to get that flank.
Oh, was it to start a flank?
Yeah.
Oh,
because,
there you go. That was
almost had that flank.
Yeah, that's within my allowance. My normal allowance for an animal. Then that makes sense then. Okay. Because I read a comment, someone saying smart bird, but I usually allow a trained animal to flank. I think it makes sense.
I guess that when we're thinking about it, that when we're talking about precise commands, I agree with you there about that you can only do so much. But when an animal gets to specialized level, like when you reach the absolute heights, that's when like the rules themselves say that, okay, now you're dealing with a pretty intelligent animal at that point.
Ooh, does it say that?
I think that would be of an interpretation or a...
I still would think, even if it didn't say it, that would be reasonable. Our chat is saying this party has pretty good class diversity. Yeah.
I love everybody's character. I think everybody's playing their stuff really nicely. It's been really enjoyable.
I agree.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun on this campaign.
Yeah, as soon as I very much as soon as I saw Quest of the Frozen released, I was like, man, it would be so much fun to run somebody who is very out of so
out of their element, you said?
Yes, out of their element.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, your microphone's doing that cutout thing again.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, she's trying to stop whenever it cuts out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I usually tend to focus on the tactics and stuff and fights, but one session ones I want to have more RP, but I also I thought it was really important for this campaign to get a sense of the people in the following.
Yeah.
So I
absolutely
made that choice.
I've been running Strength of Thousands for some players, and I like the amount of NPCs in this so far because it's not like overwhelming. Where in Strength of Thousands, it's just like there's so many NPCs.
Everyone in your dorm, right?
Yeah, and then like
there's the person who makes
teachers
drugs in
and
their
other
room.
people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, for the folks watching, I'm going to have a final chat with folks off stream so that people can, give me some thoughts off stream. But meanwhile, this first session is going to be on the main channel. My side channel is where I've been having my live campaigns, and so that's where Quest for the Frozen Flame will continue. So if you don't want to miss out on that, subscribe to the side channel. The link is in the description. Also join the Discord, and you can sign up for the role that gives you notifications for when I do another live stream. So that's it. I hope viewers enjoyed it. All right, so see you all later.
Bye, chat.
Bye, chat.
Thanks for the good times.
Okay. All right, so obviously a safe space now to say whatever you like.